coward without the moral courage to prevent an atrocity. You offend me.
That's where we're going today. That's where we're going today. It's not a happy place. Well, it's pretty offensive. It's pretty disgusting. It's pretty disgraceful. But that's the road we got to walk today. It can't all be fun, games, and happiness and jokes here. But we'll do our best to not get as deep as I want, because I got pretty shouty last time we talked about the Uvalde stuff. Now, so before that, let's get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. First of all, you'll notice that my usually crisp and sharp black hat is filthy and rumpled because apparently I left it somewhere where Yoda could get a hold of it. And Yoda just snacked on my hat all day. So this hat is effectively trashed. It's beat. This is now, I don't know what. This is just going to be like the typhoon hat or some other hat. It is no longer acceptable for use in public. So God rest that hat's soul. But don't worry, we have a new one from Miller Hats coming on the way. It should be here in a week or two. So there will be a cool new hat debuting at some point. I had to replace the deceased Yoda hat. So yeah, there we go. That's the story of the hat. The black hat is no more. It will be replaced with a different black hat, one that's kind of cool. So, all right. We've got a couple of other things to do. First of all, we have a super thanks. I've only had a couple of these the entire time I've been doing this, but yesterday we got a super thanks. And if you look right down there, you can send, there should be like a super thanks link thing. You can do that as well. So for those of you on the playback crew that watch this when we're not live, if you still feel like you want to contribute in some way and are frustrated that you can't send live chat during the live stream, you can send a super thanks, which is essentially the same thing. And Pixie78 sent an $8 super thanks yesterday, saying treats for Yoda and Strawberry. And also, Alan, our mod, who is just about to take off on vacation, sent earlier today a $50 super chat saying, bang, love you, Jeff. Cheers, my man. So those were all the pre-game super chats that came in. And since we've started, we've already had 2 super chats. So let's get those out of the way, and then we got to get into the story. There's a lot to cover today. So first, let me highlight them so I can bring them up while the chat continues to scroll. Michelle, happy hump day. Happy hump day to you too. Welcome. Good, I guess it would be afternoon in South Africa or late morning. And Fondian, that guy needs to be deleted publicly with each of the families taking their turn. Going to be listening as I have another 240 miles to drive. Well, I think he needs to be charged with something. I don't know about deleted because YouTube doesn't like it when you talk like that. So I think he needs to be charged with something. And for whoever the YouTube lurker is that's hanging around in the stream, waiting to see what we're talking about and looking to yellow flag me for advertising thing, guys, settle down. We're talking about a very serious topic here. We're going to be using some terms and things, but not in a derogatory way, not in a disrespectful manner. YouTube people, we're doing our best to talk about a very, very serious subject, one that YouTube's algorithm doesn't seem to like. But all right, that's the second thing out of the way. So as you know, we always do a poll. We do a like and subscribe poll, and it's usually joking based on whatever the topic of the day we're talking about is. But it sort of felt a little irreverent, not irrelevant. It sort of felt a little irreverent to do that. I mean, as much as my sense of humor says it would be okay, we're still talking about a serious subject. So I kind of tweaked the whatever this thing is, the like and subscribe poll. If you go look at our poll today, our poll is simple, straightforward. I hit the like and subscribe buttons because this is a serious and important topic, because it's the decent thing to do, and because it makes the Lorax happy. And the little tweak, I hit the like and subscribe button because I can't hit Arredondo like I want to. So that's the rules of the game. We have 163 votes and 159 likes. Haven't figured out how that works. More people have taken the poll about hitting the like button than have actually hit the like button. So cheaters, get down there and hit that like button. We got 244 concurrent viewers, 163 likes. Take the poll after you hit the like and subscribe button, and then I won't talk about it for about another hour, and we'll see how the numbers are looking when we get into the next phase of our show today. Super chats again, they're not expected, they're not mandatory. I will address what I can as far as regular comments go in the comment section. I try to get to as much as I can, but it's often difficult when I'm reading, commenting, as well as checking to make sure things aren't on fire in the background. But I do what I can. But genuinely, super chats are always acknowledged, always read, given priority, and answered. So thank you so much for that. That's enough of this. That's enough of the chit chat. That's enough of the small talk. We need to get into this. Let's see, and you guys, you hear the best chat on the entire internet. Every chance I get when I look over here, you guys are talking about something I have no idea what you're talking about. I hope you're paying a little bit of attention to me. All right, where do we start with this? I guess where I want to start is to do a fairly in-depth retelling, because this has been a while. And as time goes by, we tend to sort of kind of forget exactly what happened. Maybe we all remember we were angry. We all remember there was a big delay. We may remember that it was a long time before the police did anything, before law enforcement did anything in this school. But we kind of tend to forget the details. And the devil is in the details. So I want to go back over the timeline and address some of those timeline issues to refresh your mind. And even refreshing my mind, my blood pressure was just spiking today. So we'll go through this the best we can. We got Yoda barking in the background. Don't know if you can hear him, but so where do we go? Let's go back in time. We're going back to May 24th. May 24th, 2022 was the day of the shooting. Just after I started my little YouTube career that I'm working on here. May 24th, 2022, early in the morning. One thing that a lot of people forget was the guy that did the deed. He shot his grandmother earlier that morning. A lot of us forget that. Before he went into school and did his damage, he shot his grandmother. She survived. He shot her in the face. Didn't just shoot her. Yeah. He shot his grandmother in the face. That's how he started his day. And then he decided to go to the school. He gets there around 11:30 a.m. and he crashes his car in front of the school. And that's where we start. So let's bring up this timeline here. Yeah, so no smacking the kitty allowed. All right, this is rough. Buckle in. We're going in. All right, let me bring up the timeline here. I know what we're talking about, and I know what's going to happen, and my blood pressure is going up already. So the main thing that starts here at 11:31. He goes to the school parking lot. He fires a bunch of shots outside. The school goes into lockdown. And then at 11:33 a.m. Oh, but yeah, the police actually drove past him in the parking lot, I guess, without realizing that was him. Now there's a lot of stuff going on, but what I want to focus on in this is the school police chief, PETE Arredondo's actions during this. Everyone else I can sort of kind of forgive, but he is the commanding officer on scene. PETE Arredondo is the police chief for the Uvalde schools. He is the commander. He's the top dog. He's the one we're going to focus on here. So the shooter enters the school through a back door. Someone said that the teacher had left it open, but that was proven not to be the case. He walks into classroom 111. It was never locked. That becomes very, very important. Doesn't appear to have encountered a locked door, according to school surveillance footage. A report from the Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training Center also determined the shooter didn't appear to encounter a locked door. The Texas House Committee report elaborates that the door did not properly lock, and it was a widely known fact around the school. The room teacher, Mr. Reyes, had also reported the condition to the school in the past. His door didn't lock. They knew his door didn't lock, and they had conducted shooting drills previously at this school, and this should have been addressed, but it wasn't. So the shooter walks out of the classroom, goes back in, shooting some more. In 2.5 minutes, he shot over 100 rounds. Over 100 rounds. That's a lot. And children's screams can be heard in the school surveillance video. Addition, one of the bullets passed through the walls and struck a teacher in the nearby room 109 who survived. The attacker fired most of his shots and likely murdered most of his innocent victims before any responder set foot in the building. But that doesn't matter. Here's the path he walked. So now it's, again, he walked in and started his shooting at 11:33 a.m. 11:33 a.m. 2 minutes later, the police go in the school. The police enter the school 2 minutes later. Two separate groups. They go in. Now, here's where we start to get into PETE Arredondo's business. At the same time, 4 officers enter the school through the south entrance. PETE Arredondo, the chief of the school district police department, another school district officer, and 2 Uvalde police officers. So PETE Arredondo, the chief of the school district's police department, enters the school 2 minutes after it began. He does not have his radios. He left his radios somewhere else. Why did he do that? Well, he said that he wanted both hands on his weapon if he encountered the shooter, and he believed that the radios would have slowed him down. So the commanding officer on scene doesn't want his radios with him. He doesn't have his radios with me. Personally, an absolute just conspiracy theory I have is he forgot them, but he said he didn't. So this is what his attorney told the Tribune. According to the Texas House Committee report, he testified that he was fumbling with his radios when he got out of his vehicle. He decided to drop them by the school fence, knowing that Sergeant Daniel Coronado with the Uvalde Police Department was there and fully uniformed with his radio. So the cop says he left his radio there. He left both of his radios behind because he thought they would interfere with his weapons. Every other officer has radios and weapons. Why doesn't he? The police chief. That does not make any sense at all to me. So 1 minute later, more police officers come in. The officer said they heard gunfire as they were approaching, saw a cloud of debris as well as bullet holes in the wall. They also were hearing children scream, it says. None of the officers recalled hearing the screams or having any understanding that people had been shot in the classrooms. Well, figure it out. 4 or 5 minutes after it starts, more rounds are fired and the police retreat. The police retreat at this point. All right, just got to keep going. Don't get bogged down by the fact that the police, whose job it is to protect the children, they got shot at, forgetting that there's children in the room, not caring if there's children in the room, not confirming if there's children in the room, whatever. The police officers retreat. So they faced gunfire and immediately retreated to the north of the hallways. The officers were grazed by fragments of building material, and they did not fire towards their attacker. May have been smart. May have, you don't know who's on the other side of the door. Maybe there were children. Maybe they weren't. They didn't return fire, but they did retreat, and they were complaining they were getting, like pieces of plaster and whatnot were raining down upon them. After retreating, Uvalde Police Lieutenant Javier Martinez advances again towards the hallway, but no other officers follow him. One guy had balls. Everyone else stayed put. Several law enforcement said that Martinez might have made it into the classroom and engaged Sooners if others had followed him. But they didn't. They stayed behind. Okay, after the gunman stops firing, this is now 5 minutes after the shooting has started. After the gunman stops firing, Arredondo checks room 110 and finds it empty, noting there's no babies in here. It's awards day. Yeah. There's no babies in here. It's awards day. He testified that he prayed that if room 110 was empty, the children might be gone from the rooms occupied by the attacker as well. He prayed that if that room was empty, the other rooms where the shooter is might be empty. Well, tell you what, why don't you check and find out? Instead of just, oh my God, this room's empty. I hope that one where the shooter is empty too. That doesn't work. And so at that point, while this guy is still there, they no longer, Police Chief Arredondo made the decision to no longer treat it as an active shooter case. Instead, they decided to start treating it as a barricaded subject situation. So the guy's gone to ground. He's holed up in the room. I will never understand why they decided to no longer consider this an active shooter case. The Texas committee said this approach never changed over the course of the incident, despite evidence that Chief Arredondo's perspective evolved to a later understanding that fatalities and injuries within the classroom were a very strong possibility. So even though he later, and not long after this, realized that there may still actually be children in this room, which comes in play later in this video we're going to watch, even though his perception of the situation changed, he continued to treat it as a barricaded person incident. Dig this. 7 minutes after, Arredondo calls the Uvalde Police Department. Arredondo, this is according to 911 recordings, Arredondo calls the landline of the Uvalde Police Department from his cell phone. Why did he have to use a cell phone? Because he didn't bring his radios with him. The chief of police is calling the chief of the school district police department is calling the Uvalde Police Department on his cell phone. He doesn't have a radio. But if I recall correctly, what he had to do here was he had to call his own dispatch, who then called the Uvalde police. He asked for a SWAT team and a radio. He calls them. He leaves his radios outside. Then he calls the police station to request that they bring him a radio. He dumped 2 of them, or he left them at the department, whichever story you choose to believe. So the guy who intentionally, he said, didn't bring his radio is now calling the police station asking for a radio. You figure that one out. You figure out how that works. However, the commander of the Uvalde SWAT team was actually among the first officers to arrive from the north side of the building. This is how in control this police chief was. He doesn't have his radio. He has to call the dispatch to get a radio sent to him along with a SWAT team, not knowing that the commander of the SWAT team is on the other side of the building. That's this guy. That's who we're dealing with. This is who's in charge of this shit show. And only 7 minutes have gone down since the shooting started. And another round goes off. Even though the suspect shoots another round, it doesn't change to an active shooter. It's still just a hold-up gunman. So then they make a request for shields and flashbangs from the police department, helicopter support, ballistic shields, etc. Now, again, here's where we get angry again. Law enforcement dispatch asks if the door is locked, the door to the classroom where the shooter is. And Sergeant Coronado replies that he doesn't know, but they have a Halligan. It's the door breaching. They have a door breaching equipment. No officer, and again, this is going to come into play in what we talk about next And I mean, later in this report and what we talk about next and the video, it takes place. This is important for 3 reasons. The House committee report said that no officers tested whether the classroom doors were locked. Nobody thought to figure out if the doors are actually locked or not. Dispatch asked, are there kids in the room where the shooter is? And Coronado requests a mirror to look around corners. Meanwhile, a voice on the radio saying, well, class should be in session. You don't need a damn radio. It was during class time. There's going to be kids in there. Assume that. And then more officers pour in. They start evacuating children 9 minutes after this happens. Officers start breaking classroom windows to evacuate students from other parts of the building. They put out the warning on Facebook. And that's when an officer reports, he was one of the guys. You saw lots of cops dicking around with their cell phones. This guy was on his cell phone, Ruben Ruiz. He was on the cell phone because his wife called him and said she'd been shot. They took his cell phone. They removed him from the scene. So at this point, they know there is someone alive and injured in the room, and they know it's one of their police officers' wives. And they didn't go in. They didn't let him go in. They didn't form a strategy to go in. They took his gun, they took his phone, and they moved him off site. That upsets me. 17 minutes after it starts, Coronado says people need to get out of the hallway. Chief Arredondo is in there. Chief is in charge right now. Hold on. So this is everyone saying, hey, everybody, Arredondo's in charge. He's here. He's the guy. Get out of his way. Let him do his police chief stuff. More, yeah. And Just Cause mentioning what? What, Cola Roberts? You've got Just Cause mentioning that there was videos of cops with walking out of their way and getting hand sanitizer and crap. What do you need, Cola Roberts? You've called me a bunch of times. What's up? Anyway, all right, whatever. Get back on track here. More police arrive. 20 minutes after this goes down. 20 minutes after this goes down. The House committee is like, the Texas Department of Public Safety guy comes. He's like the only one that has any brains here. He told the House committee that he disregarded a request that he assist at the perimeter. Yeah, he was told, go outside, help with the perimeter. He's like, yeah, no, I think we need to figure out what's going on in these classrooms. Okay, Cole Roberts, I was just happy to see him. All right, well, don't derail me mid-rant. Now I got to get all angry again. Onlookers start filming. All right, let's go down to some more. Okay, here we go. The report concludes officers either assumed Arredondo was in charge or couldn't tell. So an unknown person says over a police radio, it is critical for everyone to let the police department take point on this. And remember, a few minutes earlier, we had the guy saying that Arredondo's the guy in charge. You get out of his way. He's the boss. Now they're saying it's critical we let him take over. It's critical we let the police department take point on this. But nobody that was interviewed indicated they had any knowledge of this communication or what it meant by PD taking point on this. The report concludes officers either assumed Arredondo was in charge or couldn't tell who was in charge. And it's right that they would assume that the guy who has authority over that area would be the guy in charge. Everybody under Arredondo thought Arredondo was in charge. Other people thought Arredondo was in charge, but yet other people had no idea. Several people interviewed by the committee called the scene chaos or a cluster bleep. Now, the DPS agent that we talked about, he says, y'all don't know if there's still kids in there? If there is, then they just need to go in. This is 23 minutes after it all began. The DPS guy is saying, look, if there's kids in there, get in the room. You got to go in the room if there are kids in there. And then he was told, whoever is in charge will determine that. It's like, stand down, pal. You're not in charge. Whoever's in charge, Arredondo will decide that. And Williams says, there's still kids over here. I'm going to get the kids out. And he goes to start helping clear other classrooms. And then someone criticizes him, saying, oh, you could be in a crossfire situation. He's doing something, unlike these other just disgraceful police officers that aren't doing anything. Now, this is a weird thing. Almost 30, well, it's 25 minutes after it starts. A law enforcement officer incorrectly believes that Arredondo is in the room with the shooter. When asked about the shooter, the officer responds, the school chief of police is in there with him. So we've got the police chief who either intentionally or unintentionally leaves his radio behind. He's got his cell phone. He has to call for assistance by using his cell phone to call the dispatch. And then he asks to have his radio brought to him because he left his somewhere else. He doesn't know if there's anybody in the classrooms with the shooter, but he hopes there are. Even though the shots are still going on, he decides it's not an active shooter situation. He's not taking charge. People are saying he's in charge. Other people don't know in charge. He's calling for SWAT backup, not understanding that the SWAT commander is on the other side of the building. And now somehow people are getting the idea that he's actually in the room with the shooter. So the school police chief is not doing his job. And nobody knows where he is. Nobody's what he's doing. He doesn't know who's there. This is just the most amazing thing from this police chief. A DPS agent, again, this is 28 minutes after it starts. He says if it's a hostage rescue situation, officers need to go in. This is another DPS agent, perhaps the same one, they don't know. We've got people saying if there are kids in there, you got to go in. We got to find out if there's kids in there. If there's a hostage situation, you've got to go in. They're repeatedly saying you've got to go in. And again, someone says, don't you think we should have a supervisor approve that? The supervisor that doesn't know what the hell's going on. Exactly 30 minutes after this guy has fired 100 rounds and eliminated many children. A student, someone in the room, one of the kids in the damn room, calls 911 for 1 minute and 23 seconds and identifies herself in a whisper. So now they know there are children alive and children not alive in that room. They know there are injured people in the room because of the sheriff. You've got deceased, you have alive, you have injured in that room with the shooter. The police continue to do nothing. The House report said that Chief Arredondo did not learn about that call because he didn't establish a way to get critical information from outside the building. Someone calls 911 and he doesn't know how to get information inside the building. Well, I bet if he had his damn radio, he could have solved that problem, don't you think? He didn't say, oh, if anyone calls 911, you want to let me know if there's important information that comes in, somebody let me know. This is the chief of police for the school district, the guy in charge, the guy on scene, has no idea how to get information from outside the four walls of the building where he's at. The Texas House Committee said it received no evidence that any officer who did learn about phone calls acted on it to advocate shifting to an active shooter style response or otherwise acting more urgently to breach the classrooms. So essentially what they're saying here is that even those officers that somehow heard about these 911 calls, and there was more than one, the officers that heard about these 911 calls didn't really think it was important enough to tell the police chief, the guy who was in charge, that these calls were coming in. Meanwhile, there are at least 19 officers outside the school hallway. 19-1. 19-1, and they still don't go in. They also had 2 ballistic shields. They had ballistic shields and 19 guys, and they didn't go in that room for 30 minutes. Continuing. A third bullet shield comes. Now they have 3 bulletproof shields, at least 19 guys, 1 shooter holed up in a room. 33 minutes have passed and there's still no command post set up. No officers to keep you. All of the officers were keeping parents out of the school. That because all of the parents wanted to go in because it's been 33 minutes since this guy started shooting up their kids. But no, the police, they spend all of their efforts keeping the parents back. There's no command post. There's nobody creating order. There's nobody taking reports. There's no one making sure information is flowing between all of the different organizations and all of the different officers on site. More students call at 37 minutes after this goes down. Then more SWAT officers come on scene. Listen to this shit. This is where I start to lose my shit. 12:11 p.m. It's now 39 minutes. It's now 39 minutes after the shooting started. 39 minutes. Arredondo, the chief of the school district's police department, requests a master key. According to law enforcement body camera footage, finding a master key to get into the room was a primary focus of his attention for the next 40 minutes. The commander, the guy in charge, the number 1 man on scene, spent 40 minutes looking, and this only started 39 minutes or 38 minutes after the shooting began. 38 minutes after the shooting began, the number 1 guy starts looking for a master key into the room. And he spends 40 minutes looking for a master key. They have door breaching tools already on scene. Oh, and in case you remembered from earlier, the door wasn't fucking locked. The door was not locked. Nobody bothered to check. He is looking, the chief of police is looking for 40 minutes for keys to a door that's not locked. Just let that sink in a little bit. This is why I can't talk about this subject. Newbie 145 says 40 minutes looking for a key is just dumb, especially if the door's not even locked. How about that for extra stupid? Yeah, why do they need a key they have stuff to knock the doors down? They didn't even need that because the door wasn't locked. But the chief of police, number 1 guy on scene, spends 40 minutes looking for a key he doesn't need. And since when is it the chief of police that goes around looking for keys? You go, hey, you Corporal Bonehead, go find the frickin' keys if you think the keys are necessary. Now a third call to 911 comes from a student. Now he's explaining that there's several deceased children and 1 teacher is gone. More people come in. This is where the tactical unit comes with more shields. They now know the subject has possibly deleted multiple children, shot multiple children, and was still in the classroom. A 4th call from a child trapped in that room now for 45 minutes. 45 minutes. This and other children have been shut in a room with a guy who has blown away their friends and their teachers. A 4th 911 call. Now check this shit out. We're coming up on 50 minutes. Not quite 50 minutes, but getting there. Arredondo attempts to test keys on a different door. School announces active shooter on campus. Arredondo attempts to test numerous keys on a different door. Still hasn't checked to see if the door is even locked. Now he's futzing around with keys on a different door to see, oh, is this the master key? Is that the master key? There we are. There's Big Shot. There's Big Police Chief. These keys are not opening up this room. Jackass. Parents are begging for action. They're trying to break windows. They're not allowed to do anything. The 5th student to call 911 happens. He or she hangs up when another student tells him or her to do it. The guy fires again at 12:21 p.m. It has now been 48 minutes since this started. 48 minutes. And he's still shooting. But it's just a hostage situation. It's not an active shooter. The sixth 911 call from a student, and there's 3 gunshots. These 3 gunshots are fired 48 minutes after he went in that school. Now they finally have. They were concerned that the shields they didn't have weren't rifle proof. Well, here we have one. The only one that would have provided meaningful protection against the attacker's AR-15 rifle. You know, at some point, you got to be Superman. You got to be Superman. They don't have a legal duty to go in there and put their life on the line, but they had a moral duty. One of them had to have the balls to go, hey, one or more of us might not make it out of this room, but by God, I'm going in there. Otherwise, don't put the badge on. Just don't. They set up medical triage in front of the classrooms. Look at all these guys with all this freaking firepower. At least 19, probably more than 20. Probably more than 20. Lined up there. All out of bubble gum. Great quote, by the way. Serious question. With this much incompetence, how feasible are wrongful death lawsuits against... Oh, yeah, they're happening. they're already happening. And as long as we're taking a breath here with this lovely image, Nancy Joe, Mr. Check has lots of angry face emojis. Thank you so much for that. And Nancy Joe, you have also become our newest member. Thank you so very much for joining the membership. Deeply, deeply appreciated. And Bad Weather Biker, Fieldcraft Survival Channel, which, I mean, he's a Utah homie. He's one guy I tried to get in contact with him, but he has a bajillion viewers, and I never got any answers to anything. Did a really good tactical analysis of this. I can send you a link. I've seen it. I want him on the channel, but I was never able to get a hold of him. I'm just small. Flux says, did you read my super chat? Did I miss it? Well, apparently I missed it in my anger. Oh, gee, that was 30 minutes ago. I'm so sorry. Let's go back and get Flux here, and then we got to get back into this. I need this break here anyway to get the blood pressure down. Ugh. Sorry about that, Flux. Flux said, I wanted to say something very colorful, something fluxy, but this is so beyond unacceptable. So cowardice, so heartless. I can only say he deserves whatever is coming to him. Yeah, here or in hopefully, these are the times I hope there's a next life and people sort of, get what they deserve, whether it's through karma or a swift kick to hell, whatever it is, I hope they get it. So now it's been 51 minutes, and Bozo and Bonzo and Skippy and Pete and Doug are all standing around here with their gas masks, multiple weapons, bullet shields. They've got these ballistic shields. They've got everybody, and nothing happens. A few minutes later, they move closer. But they didn't breach the room. 12:32, 59 minutes. 59 minutes after this guy started shooting. Officers are continuing to search for keys to a goddamn unlocked door. The Texas House Committee report criticized the long search. Well, do you think there's anything critical about searching for almost 40 minutes for a key that is unnecessary? With respect to using keys, Alert teaches that often the quickest, most discreet, and safest method of entering a locked building is to locate a key, as long as the keys can be located immediately. But if a key cannot be located quickly, law enforcement responders should use another technique to enter the area without delay. You know what? I don't know what this alert is. I assume it's one of their ready response things. I don't even have to read it, and I know that's the smartest damn answer. That seems like the logical thing to do. And now see, this is odd. 32 minutes later, an officer with forcible entry tool enters. It was already there. It just hadn't been brought in the school building, apparently. Garrow attempted to use a tool to pry a door open a hallway open to see if it would work. He determined it would take too long and dangerously expose an officer to gunfire coming in from inside the classroom. Yeah, okay, whatever you want to do, you don't want to divert that gunfire away from the children, right? Because they're not you. Oh, unless they are your children in the classroom. Another call, a sixth or is this seventh call? I forget. I think it might be the seventh 911 call from students in the room. 12:38 p.m. Exactly 1 hour and 5 minutes after the shooting started, Arredondo attempts to communicate with the shooter in Spanish and English. He waits an hour and he's already made the determination that the guy was hunkered down minutes after it started. Why didn't he start talking to him then? Oh, he was busy looking for keys, obviously. Now he thinks it's a good idea. An hour and 5 minutes later, he periodically tried to communicate with the shooter throughout, including at 12:21 p.m. Oh, so 10 minutes, 15 minutes earlier, gunman shoots the door. They run away. More keys. An hour and 12 minutes after it starts, they're testing more keys. Well, thank fuck that an hour and 12 minutes later, Guerrero has obtained a master key, and another officer advised him to try it on another door first, but it didn't work. And then he got a second master key, which opened the test door. This was the master key that would be used to open the door to room 111, even though the door was already unlocked. So whatever they do now could have been done 3 minutes after the shooting started. 12:46 to 12:47. 1 hour and 13 minutes to 1 hour and 14 minutes later, Arredondo gives approval. And he didn't even really, I mean, listen to this. He gives his approval. If y'all ready to do it, you do it. Maybe they were ready a freaking hour ago, an hour and 10 minutes ago. I guess if you're all ready, you want to do it, just go ahead and do it. 1 minute later, Arredondo says he's going in. Tell those guys on the west they're going in. Let them know. That could have been done an hour and 14 minutes ago. That's the same time someone calls another one, seventh or eighth call, says I can hear police next door. And send the police now. And then 12:50. 12:50. 1 hour and 17 minutes. 1 hour and 17 minutes after he started shooting, they go in and take him out. Yeah. Thanks, Texas House Committee report. There was an unacceptably long period of time before officers breached the classroom. Yeah. Great. Given the information known about victims who survived through the time of the breach and who later died on the way to the hospital, it is plausible that some victims could have survived if they had not had to wait 73 additional minutes for rescue. Oh, God, that makes me mad. There we go. That's the timeline. If you're like me, you forgot a lot of these details and you forgot how aggravating and how angry this made you. So now this is the background for what it took us 44 minutes. And you know what? Since I started talking, how many of you have been here for 44 minutes? You know what? That's just about half the time that these little children were trapped in a room with a guy who was blowing away their friends and their teachers. 44 minutes. This is just a little over half of the time the shooter was in the room. Think about that. Since we started talking about this, it's been half as long as those little kids were trapped in that room. It's been half as long as Police Chief PETE Arredondo did fuck all to help those kids. Half the time. And how long have I been just spewing crap out of my mouth, BSing with you guys for this long? That's ridiculous. Now, the quick aftermath of all of this. He gets fired. Why? He gets fired. They hold several school board meetings to bring him, to get his questions, but he doesn't show up. And it takes someone to say that there's bylaws that if the guy misses, if someone that's on the council misses 3 meetings in a row, they can be removed. And they're begging the city council to remove him. So, well, that's what they do. They fire him over the shooting. The school board fires him. And he has the audacity to call the vote a public lynching. This is his response to being canned. It's a lynching. It's just a public lynching. Oh yeah, he didn't show up to any of the meetings. Yeah, none. He didn't want to show up to the meetings. Uvalde school officials have faced mounting pressure to fire Arredondo, who received much of the blame for the delay, as he rightfully should have. Ugh. They agreed on Wednesday. What was the date on this? August 25th. So this was in May, June, July. Exactly 3 months after the shooting, they got rid of him. 3 months. It took him 3 months to fire him. The vote came shortly after he asked to be taken off suspension and receive back pay. He was suspended. He said, hey, take me off of suspension and I want my back pay. Dude wanted his payment for the time he was suspended. Arredondo widely blamed for the law enforcement's delay in confronting the gunman who killed 21 people, 19 children, 19 babies, and 2 teachers. Chief Arredondo will not participate in his own illegal and unconstitutional public lynching and respectfully requests the board immediately reinstate him with all back pay and benefits and close the complaint as unfounded. That's his lawyer. His lawyer said he thinks it's an illegal and unconstitutional public lynching. Give him his back pay. He didn't attend the meeting, citing death threats against him. 100 people, including relatives, showed up for the vote, but he couldn't show up for the vote. I hope they do right by us. In a statement the day after the meeting, Luis Fernandez, the Uvalde school board president, said firing Arredondo was an important step in accountability and rebuilding our community's trust in the district. To the community, we hear you. We're committed to doing what needs to be done, blah, blah, blah. 3 months later. Now, this is the shit here. We just talked about the 19 guys, at least 19 guys that were in the room. For months, school officials faced intense public pressure to fire Arredondo, who was one of the first law enforcement officers to respond. Nearly 400. 400. Oh, local, let's go back to that. 400. 400 local, state, and federal law enforcement officers waited more than an hour to confront one 18-year-old gunman. On site were 400 law enforcement officers. 400 law enforcement officers. And one little piece of shit in a classroom with a gun. Superintendent Hal Harrell recommended that Arredondo be fired for good cause. Yeah. School officials, his lawyer asked the school officials to read a statement on his behalf. They didn't do that. Good. The responding officers lacked clear leadership, basic communication, sufficient urgency to more quickly confront the gunman. Yeah. Arredondo's lawyer said the school district violated his constitutional due process by failing to provide him notice of the complaints against him. Yeah, whatever. And failure to conduct an investigation of his response ahead of the termination hearing. I mean, this guy has zero remorse, zero introspection, zero thought for what he did. He testified he believed the shooter was a barricaded subject instead of an active shooter after seeing an empty classroom next to the one where the shooter was. Oh, he sees an empty classroom and decides, oh, I guess the one he's in must. This is just so messed up. Training for an active shooter scenario directs law enforcement responders to prioritize the lives of innocent victims over those of officers. Yeah. For a barricaded suspect, officers are advised not to rush in. Finding a freaking key consumed his attention and wasted precious time, especially when it wasn't locked. And they could have known it wasn't locked because they'd been reported the door didn't lock because there was something wrong with it. So this is where we are. And they're pissed that it took 90 days to fire him, which I don't blame them. So what are we doing here today? What we're going to do for the last half of this, we're going to move into phase 2, which the day after the shooting occurred, he gave an interview and was investigated by a bunch of people. And that's what we're going to be watching today. It was released, I believe, last week. CNN covered it. We're going to watch this despicable, disgraceful human being, police officer, PETE Arredondo. We're going to watch what he had to say about this the day after, like literally the morning after this occurred. We're going to see what he had to say. First, let's do some housekeeping stuff here. 4 months from Zero Max. If I recall correctly, a guy who got his gun taken away when he tried to enter the school, only for us to learn his wife was a teacher that got shot. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier in the program at the beginning of the timeline. He was on the call with his missus when he got that call, and they took it away from him, took his gun from him, and escorted him off the premises. This is rough, man. The police standing down and letting people's property burn during the riots, plus this incident, permanently ruined my support for the Thin Blue Line. Assume no one is coming to help you. That's the thing. I mean, that's an unfortunate reality. As they say, the cops can be there in precious minutes when seconds count, or something to that effect. Thank you for that, Bad Weather Biker. And Flux. Never forget the Supreme Court ruling that police do not have to protect you. True. Legally, but ethically and morally, yeah. That should definitely be happening. I was just doing a dog count. They were being suspiciously quiet, but they seemed to be sleeping. Snuggle Struggle. Thank you so much for the super chat and the chuckle. They didn't bother doing a head count. Yep. Ask anyone working at the school to do a head count. The cowardly nature and immorality displayed is abhorrent. And that's why I played that little clip from Star Trek, The Next Generation at the beginning. And I'm going to play it again because it exactly sums up my feelings for school police chief PETE Arredondo. This is what I think about him.
Coward without the moral courage to prevent an atrocity. You offend me.
A coward without the moral compass to prevent an atrocity. You offend me. Couldn't have said it better than that. Yeah, I believe the quote is when seconds matter, the police are just minutes away. Yeah. A coward without the moral compass to prevent an atrocity. He offends me. Well, let's see what he has to say for himself, shall we? Let's see what magical stuff he can bring up to convince us that he acted completely appropriately and did nothing wrong, and that just firing him was a public lynching, violating all of his rights, and he should get back pay and be reinstated. I don't know how much of this we're going to get through, but we'll try. The morning after, he sat down for an interview with officers from the Texas Department of Public Safety and the FBI. CNN obtained this recording of the Arredondo, the only one Arredondo gave to the police. He would later be blamed as the incident commander who was responsible for failing to stop the gunman for 77 minutes. Here he gives his recollection of what happened.
Okay, my name is Philip Kusha, and today's date is Wednesday, May 25th, and the
Holy
time
crap,
is
that sounds really,
8:59.
really,
Also in the
really
room is
loud.
FBI agent
James Eagle Eye, FBI.
Wow. Hang on. Hey. All right, I have to adjust. I know it sounds probably okay to you because StreamYard tries to balance things out, but I had to balance that because it's deafening my own ears. All right. I think we've got it worked out there. Holy crap, that was really loud to me. This is a good example of how what I hear is not what you hear. StreamYard does their own stuff regardless of whether I want them to do it or not. So I have to leave that volume up and just turn down my headphones to where I can barely hear anything. Yep. All right. Sorry about this little delay here while I do that. All righty. Ouch, that hurt my ears a lot. bringing down my volume. Here we go. All right, if there are any volume problems, just let me know. As far as balance goes. Holy cow.
San Antonio Division.
and Chief
PETE ARREDONdo. ARR. I don't know if you need that or not.
Nah.
Okay, you got it. Got it.
Okay, hey Chief, so can I get your date of birth, please?
Sure. Long time ago.
And how about your address?
Yeah, you don't want his address getting out. That would be wrong.
Filled out.
Uvalde?
At Uvalde, yes, in 78801.
78801. How
Yes,
about a
sir.
phone number for you? All right. As I explained, the way I like to start my interviews is kind of go over a basic background. So, can you just tell me when you started your law enforcement career?
Sure, 1993, with the city of Uvalde on patrol, or communications and patrol both.
That's Uvalde PD, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, how long did you spend with Uvalde PD?
15 years and I believe 8 months, and then I started on patrol and went through the ranks to CID, Sergeant CID, Lieutenant CID, and then Commander of Patrol, and Assistant Chief and Interim Police Chief.
Ugh.
When did you leave the city?
2008, December 20.
So he's not a new officer, guys. He's not brand new. He's not squeaky clean behind the ears. He's not a rookie. He's been doing this for nearly 2 decades. 2 decades he's done this. Flux says, better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. I don't call the police. I call Martin. Martin is my 380. Nice. Oh, this is so aggravating. Let's go.
8th or 7th, one of those two.
2008.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you've been chief here ever since, sir?
No, I went to Laredo. I was assistant chief for the sheriff's office there from January 1st of 2009 until.
Okay, he's got a lot of experience. Let's go ahead here.
Things that happened yesterday.
Sure.
So let's just start with how your day started yesterday.
What we normally do at the school, obviously we arrive and some of the guys' hours are offset because some come in early, some come in a little late. Once we get all the kids in at the high school or in junior high around 9-ish, we start doing different duties. Some of the guys will start making rounds around the campuses. We start working on reports, and that's what I did. I don't know if I even finished that report. I was working on a terroristic threat case and was writing a report when this happened. I'm going to lie to you about the time because I don't know exactly what time this was, obviously because it happened so fast. It wasn't noon yet, I know that, but it's probably not far from noon. The call came out over the radio. Our radios in the buildings are minimal reception. I heard the word gunshot. I didn't quite catch the whole transmission. Obviously, you grab the keys and start running out the door to get to your unit. And then I heard Rob's school. I won't be able to quote you exactly the wording. I know one of our officers, which is Adrian Gonzalez. I heard him over the radio shots fired, and I don't remember if he said rob school or somebody else did, but I know it was rob school. Left there, obviously running code from the high school to rob school. Obviously, Uvalde is not geographically massive, but it took a minute to get there. Not but time-wise, I couldn't tell you the exact time, but it was, gas pedal was pegged, so fast as we could get there, I did. I parked right in front of Rob's school, which is on Old Carrizo Road by the Circle Drive. Parked there. I remember got off. We have to carry 2 radios because we have school or campus radio, communicate with the campuses, and then we have a police radio.
He had 2 radios, communicate with campus, and to communicate with the police. Well, he just doesn't need his, does he? He just doesn't need it. He didn't get in the way if he had to use his gun. And he clearly had no intention of using his gun. He didn't use it for 77 minutes. He had nothing to do with it. So even that excuse just pisses me off. Rick Nikita, bring in the Dan Abnett quote. Great book, by the way, The End and the Death. Now, at the final hour of the final day, the Emperor rises. With him come his angel, his Praetorian, and his captain, all determined to enact terrible vengeance. You left out the next sentence, which is the kicker of that. Yet the hope is slim, is how that next sentence goes. Yeah. Thank you for that super chat, Rick. Let's get back to let's hear about what he has to say about leaving his radios behind. And I have not watched this yet. We're watching this together. I purposely didn't watch this until just now because I want to react with you. 2 radios.
Unfortunately, I don't have hostess for those. They got my way. I threw them, and obviously I'm running at this point. So I don't recall, and I'm going to guess it was Officer Coronado who was behind me. I'm certain it was him. Don't ask how he didn't pass me up.
I'm going to guess it was him.
I know when we got there, we had that information that someone was already on campus. I caught that in some transmission from the city dispatch while we were listening and driving that way. So I know there's an officer behind me, and it had to be Coronado. But I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't even look at him. I just know it was a cop. I said, let's start running down these wings. It's an old campus. Every wing is separated. Building that's probably, I didn't give you measurements, but they're probably 20, 30 foot wide by a couple 100 feet long. And there's a good amount of those. We started running down there and obviously clearing as we were running. I know we ran 4, 5, 6 wings. And I saw one of the coaches out there, and she was like halfway down one of the wings. I don't recall her name. Dark complected lady, Hispanic, dark complected skin and dark complected hair. She actually waved us over and said something to say he's in this direction.
Can I stop you?
Sure. I don't mean to talk so much. I apologize.
The coach. Can you describe maybe what color shirt she was wearing?
I can't describe the color of the shirt. I know it was a lot of
short hair.
Catch everything. Yeah, somewhat short hair. Yeah, for sure.
Is she the only coach?
There's a male coach, and then there's her. I don't know if there's any more assistant coaches.
Okay.
I don't want to direction on that. I know she's the most visible one, and I know her because I've known her for most of my life. And I can't remember her name.
Shot games. How many times are you going to say I'm not going to lie to you?
She directed. She waved us into the direction of where this building was, which is west of the property. And so again, we were running in that direction.
And
that officer was still behind me. We went to the very end and obviously started keeping a visual. And I heard gunshots at that point. So he was going to come out of this building where we ended up at. Ran that way. Of course, you're screening for everything, top to bottom, make sure nobody's on the roof and doing what you need to do while you're running. When we entered the building on the south entrance of that particular building where this occurred.
All right, so now he's explained how he ran to the building. Again, we question whether his ability to run. Probably took him as long to run from the parking lot to the car as it did for him to explain how he ran to the parking lot. Let's see. The Kyle Cowden, thank you so much for the super chat. We have to kind of take these breathers every now and then to get the blood pressure down. The sickening and depraved indifference aside, that their sniper had a shot and was told to stand down made me actually throw up. I'd disobey. If I recall correctly, they had someone that had a shot, and he was told, this is just going purely off recollection, which may be accurate, it may be completely wrong. But I believe they said they didn't want him shooting through the window because it may affect the trajectory of the bullet and hit somebody in the classroom. It was something stupid like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but my memory tells me that's what it was. And all right, midstream here. Let's just take a breather, take a deep breath, and do our midstream poll check. Currently, we have 690 concurrent viewers and 532 likes. We have 587 votes about hitting the like button. So somehow 50 more people that have actually hit the like button told me how they hit the like button. Those of you that just took the poll without hitting the like button, repent, and actually hit the like button. All right, here's the deal. We do this like 3 times, one at the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end. This is just a light little grift for likes because YouTube likes the likes. And I like the subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, and this is the kind of thing you like, please hit that subscribe button. This is what we do. We cover these kind of things, the breaking news. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a throwback to O.J. Simpson. Friday we're going to be kind of doing a chill stream, just kind of talking about some of the issues and some of the stories, the shorter form stories that we can't normally talk about because they don't fit in with the regularly scheduled stuff. Hopefully maybe have a few guests, just kick it for a bit on Friday. Friday's chill. Friday morning U.S. time, Friday evening U.S. time, we'll be doing an unexplained stream. We're going to try to get back to our once a week with Flux and Hannah Franz talking about unexplained things, ghosts, conspiracy theories, government, cryptids, UFOs, whatever. We talk about it on the unexplained, and we just have a good old time. And starting next Monday, Legal Mindset, Andrew and I will be hopefully joint streaming the Murdaugh trial, which is an ex-lawyer who did just about everything possible you can do wrong. He is facing 90 federal charges dealing with fraud, wire fraud, cryptocurrency. But that's the least of his problems. These 90 charges, but we're going to be streaming his murder trial. Mr. Murdaugh is accused of deleting his wife with a rifle and his son with a shotgun. He's pled not guilty. So starting on Monday, hopefully Andrew from Legal Mindset and I will be streaming that live for the duration. Also, the Dumpster Brothers, they're probably not going to televise that, is my understanding, but we'll do some updates on that, and we're going to be going from there. So like this, hit the subscribe button if that's what you're into, because that's what we do here on Legal Vices. And our poll. Let's take the poll and get right back into it. So far, in order, ascending order, I hit the like and subscribe button. 12% of you said, because it's the decent thing to do. You should all hit the like button because it's the decent thing to do. But only 12% of you did. With 22% of the vote, I hit the like and subscribe button because this is a serious and important topic. Ordinarily, these polls are lighthearted and poke fun at somebody, but this is kind of serious, so I kept the poll serious. With 32% of the vote, this is a close one, 32 and 34. In second place with 32% of the vote, I hit the like and subscribe button because I can't hit Arredondo like I want to. Maybe that'll change as we go along. But ahead, got to groom the stash for this one. Leading the pack with 34% of the vote, I hit the like and subscribe button because it makes the Law Racks happy. Law Racks approves. All right, that's the poll. Hit the like and subscribe. Take the poll. Subscribe to the channel. Several of you have already subscribed since we've been doing this. Bless you. Pass it around. And if those of you on the replay crew, you can always leave a super like. Those that are here can do a super chat. We'll hit that. We'll respond to all the super chats. We'll do our poll like Brissy Girl says, stupid fucking poll won't let me vote. Well, I don't know what that's all about, but that's too bad. All right. That's our midstream break. It's time to get the blood pressure back up again. As soon as we get one more chat, just regular chat here from Bad Weather Biker, as soon as it comes up on my stream, I saw you made it in, but for some reason it's going slow here. Dang it. All right, I guess for some reason, there we go. Finally, the cop that had the rifle bead on him was outside. Yes, he couldn't get permission to fire because no radio response at that point. The kid had already fired, so no permission was needed. Lots of things went wrong. Flux, thank you for the super chat. Always, always appreciated. Really quick, have you seen the Rick and Morty State of Georgia versus Denver Allen? No, I have not seen it. Way to have a complete non sequitur there, Flux. But I'll check it out. Thank you so much. Let's get back to what this bonehead is saying. Now he's finally ran into the school building. He's in the school building. This is where things start.
That door, I know it was unlocked because I opened it. When I opened it, I saw a cloud of smoke. I had just heard the shots, right, because they were sporadic.
He heard the shots.
A cloud of smoke, and I did see one or two bullets, casings moving still. So I ran in, and I don't know where that officer was at that point. I'm sure he was behind me somewhere. I know he wasn't in front of me. I don't know where he was behind me, but I know he was behind me. I do remember on the opposite side of the hallway, Lieutenant Javier Martinez was coming in. And we worked together forever, so I don't know if it was Javi. I don't know if someone was with him or not as we approached from where I'm sure I know he went into. I didn't see him going anywhere. The cloud of smoke was there, and I don't recall if I heard a door or not. As we approached, of course, there was some gunfire coming out, and I know it was coming out through the walls, some in our direction.
There's gunfire. He hears it. He sees the smoke. The casing's bullshit. He's hearing this, but somehow it's not an active shooter case to him. Somehow it's a barricaded shooter. Explain to me how that does not sound exactly like an active shooter. Can someone do that for me? Execution says his head looks like a circumcised helmet. Well, I object. So does mine by that logic. Yeah. He heard shots. That means it's an active shooter situation. Everything he did was wrong after that point. Active shooter equals take the MFer down ASAP. Right. Yeah. So, but no, somehow this is he's describing a barricaded shooter, not an active shooter. Keep that in mind.
I don't know, and I don't want to be incorrect on this, but so those doors on that wing, when I first started here a couple of years ago, and I was doing door checks to make sure everything locks because we were constantly on them about keeping doors locked. Several of those doors on that side and that wing, there was a base issue, so like this, right. And you had to push it in. If you didn't, it would stay just like this. I don't know why I have it in my picture that I know I saw that to say it's freaking locked. You know, it's my first thought.
Your
and
first
so
thought.
Anyway, there was some gunfire coming on. I know there was something that went towards the way of Lieutenant Martinez. I saw him moved obviously to retreat from that. And obviously I backed off and started taking cover. Let me make sure that's okay. Yeah. This is my lieutenant. I want to make sure that everything else is going on. Hey, everything good? Okay, good. I'll call you when I'm done here. I'm giving a statement as well. I just didn't.
This is CNN, of course. There aren't any hard questions. The guy's just lying. He's a dummy appointed by the mayor to do his bidding. This is not CNN that's doing the interview. This is like an official inquiry. This is like an official investigation, an official questioning the day after by the what the hell the public. Holy crap! My mind is just blanked. Who are these people? The PDS, the public safety department. It's the public safety department, and there's FBI agents sitting in on this as well. So yeah, this is Yeah, there's FBI here, but it's being done by the public safety guys. So let's continue. It's the Department of Public Safety. Is that what it is? DPS, Department of Public Safety.
I want to make sure there's nothing else going on. We don't need anything else. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right,
I couldn't remember the order of the
so
the alphabet there.
I know when we backed off, there was more people coming in, or I know there were people arriving. We tried to look into the rooms. The room south of where I'm certain he was, which he ended up being, that door was ajar. It was unlocked. So now I walked in there and it was a little more light in there. I don't think the lights were on, but I think that it was, the blinds were probably open. And it was vacant. I did see bullet holes that had come through there. I cleared that. I know there wasn't an adjoining door there. Backed out. I started looking through the door, the classroom right next door. And y'all probably been in there. These doors are, I don't want to call it a vestibule, but as you come in off the hallway, there's two doors, there's two classes. And of course, there's an indentation from the main hallway to where the door's at, a foot and a half or two, more or less. So I cleared that room, looked into the other one. That door was locked, and I tried to look in there. It was very dark, and I know I saw movement, and I know it was a child. Because it was small, and they were doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I didn't see any other movement in there. Not having a radio, I know at some point I called 911, so that there's a recording there.
Gee, if only he would have had a radio. I need a drink.
When I called, I called for long rifles. I know that. I don't know what words I used.
I mean, is this making any sense? He throws his radio because he's too fucking fat to carry him or something like that, whatever his reason was. He didn't have holders for it, so he had to throw him down. The chief of police for the school district has to call 911 with a cell phone to request additional assistance. Legal Vices is Texas, DPS Texas Rangers. In Dallas, we blow up our active shooters. RE7716. Wow. Oof. Oh, it seems like there's a toy under a chair.
But I knew we needed to get a whole bunch of those over there because I didn't have one, and I don't recall if Lieutenant Martinez even had one when we walked up. I know what my focus was. I know he was there, but I don't know what firearm he had. I ain't gonna lie. So as some people started to come in, or other officers were starting to come in on I'm gonna say my end, on the south end entrance when I came in, because pretty much I was on the south end of where the deceased was finally taken down.
Toy rescued from under.
Martinez was on the north end of that hallway, right? So when we backed out to get into an indentation to take some cover, I did see other officers show up over where the lieutenant was, and there was others coming in through this door over here. I know one was Greg Villa, who's a city police officer. I think he was a corporal. I told him to come in because we needed a long rifle. And that's where I think I can confirm that it was Coronado that was with me the whole time, because we're doing up and lower and higher and kind of taking a break.
So he's done all of this. He's left the car. He's run through the parking lot. He's gone down the hall. He's gone into another room. He's looked around. He's come out. He's being all Charlie's Angels. And only now he can confirm who the guy was that was with him the entire time. Only now can he really say this is the guy that followed me around during all of this. Not the most observant guy around.
Off our knees. And so I know we're doing that till he showed up. There was some desks in the hallway or in the indentions of classrooms. One of the first things I thought was to get that. and I asked them to cover me and get out there and start putting them out there, because if I needed to use them as a barricade, that was one of my first thoughts. But in between all that, I don't think I called 911 again that I can think of, because help had already arrived by then. And y'all bear with me, because this is probably one of the first times I'm telling the entire story. I'm trying to think as I'm going.
You're trying to think as
obviously more
not doing a good job.
Arrived. I did walk into a room. One of the things I did do was call the guys at the north end and the guys on my end to move west, because there was going to be some crossfire. So I wanted the crossfire to go in one direction in a pyramid type towards the pointing of the.
Okay, so now listen to how he's describing all of this. He's describing it like someone who's in charge of a situation, isn't he? He's describing everything that's going on as if he is the man. He's the one that's doing it all. He is the top dog. He is responsible for all of this. And it wasn't mentioned in the timeline that we looked at, but in another timeline that I did before, and you can go way back into my stacks to late May, early June, and see when I really got agitated doing this. He had said he assumed, he didn't know, he said that he didn't know he was in charge and assumed that someone else was in charge. He didn't even bother to check if he was in charge. But yet here he is talking like he was in charge. Excuse me. Oh, it just frustrates me to no end. Let's clear these two super chats and get back into it. Snuggle Struggle says, this shooter, along with the previous, were found speaking with a federal agent, talking about honoring some sort of pledge, which quickly was censored. Snuggle Struggle, I literally have no idea what that means. This shooter, the guy that shot up the place, with the previous what? Previous shooter where? You're speaking of the federal agent about honoring some sort of pledge. I don't know what any of that means. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm missing something. Thanks. And Michelle says, anything like this ever happened before? Maybe not this extreme, but that you know of. I mean, there's always these mass shootings that happen at schools here, and they had the thing in Norway. These things happen, but this level of incompetent response I've never ever seen. I've never seen anything that rises to this level of sheer incompetence in a response.
The door where that suspect was going to be if he came out. So I had everybody do that, and I called it out in the hallway. When we went in to take some cover, and again, this is across the hall from the suspect side, same type of deal. There's two doors and a little indentation, so we had a foot and a half or two to get behind. I checked those doors because I wanted to check our back. One was open. I went ahead and walked in. There was students and a teacher. And because initially sometimes you don't know if the building's empty. They do all sorts of stuff. So I don't know
okay, that's odd.
I know there's going to be empty. There's going to be students in there. I know there was an adjoining door. So I did open up that adjoining door, and I'm going to try to remember if there was students in there. And I'll remember in just a minute. Once I realized that was going on, my first thought is that we need to vacate. We haven't contained, and I know this is horrible. And I know this is what our training tells us to do, but we haven't contained. There's probably gonna be some deceased in there, but we don't need any more from out here. So I called out and I said, "Get."
Wait! Back the hell up. Listen to that again.
Get behind. I checked those doors because I wanted to check our back.
Okay, so he's checking all of the doors except for the one where the shooter is. He's checking them. It sounds like he has literally checked every door except for the one single door that actually matters. And then this shit.
One was open. I went ahead and walked in. There was students and a teacher. And because initially sometimes you don't know if the building's empty. They do all sorts of stuff. So I don't know if those schedules. I don't know if there's going to be empty. There's going to be students in there. I know there was an adjoining door, So I did open up that adjoining door, and I'm going to try to remember if there was students in there. And I'll remember in just a minute. Once I realized that was going on, my first thought is that we need to vacate. We haven't contained, and I know this is horrible. And I know this is what our training tells us to do, but we haven't contained. There's probably gonna be some deceased in there, but we don't need any more from out here.
There's probably some deceased in there, but he's contained, and we don't want any more dead people out here. So he's saying the people in that room don't fucking matter. That's what he just said. Those people in that room don't matter. Yeah, there's probably some dead people in there, but we don't want any more dead people out here. How is this a risk to the people outside of that room? Get them out of the school. That's it. The people in the room are the ones that you have to be focusing on, you twit. This makes no sense. Yeah, we know there's probably going to be some deceased children in that room, but we have to take care of the ones outside of the room? That doesn't really make sense to me.
So I called out and I said, get these kids out. Whatever I told them, bust those windows, get them out. And that's how that kind of began on the outside. Started taking kids out from all those windows. We did that on the south.
Oh, so breaking all the windows and rescuing all the kids, that was your genius idea. It had nothing to do with the DPS agent that said, hey, if there's kids in there, we need to get them out. Oh, you're not doing it? Well, let's get all the other kids out. It had nothing to do with that. This was all your brilliant genius idea. Let's get all the other kids that aren't in any danger out of the school and just screw the kids in the other room because, he's barricaded in there and we know there's some dead people there, but let's just focus on something else for the time being.
End of the building, and I know I was in constant calling contact with Constable Johnny Field. Johnny Field is also the director at the academy. That's his full-time job. He's just an elected constable. He was my point of contact across because I did see him across. He is SWAT because he was former SWAT with PD, which is at the PD. And I know he was 2 or 3 behind the line on the opposite side. So that was going to be my point of contact that he could answer my phone call as directions were coming out.
Isn't this ridiculous? He's still worrying about phone calls. He's got to make phone calls because the chief of freaking police doesn't have radios with him. I still can't get over that. That still freaks me out.
And or we were discussing direction. So I had him do the same thing. I said, y'all evacuate as many as y'all can. At that point, I didn't know there was another classroom over there with some deceased. That I found that out later when we started extracting victims. So anyway, I had him
shut up,
clear that side of the building and told him let's work on that. There was a lot of constant communication with him, so I know numerous phone calls were made to him by me because I was trying not to yell out anymore, minimize any kind of reaction from this man. Throughout this deal, I was trying to make communication with him. Called him out, asking him not to hurt anybody else anymore. Did it in
English. He was calling him out. Come on, partner. It's just you or me. One of us ain't gonna live. I don't think he was calling him out like that. Hey, dude in the room. And see this part here where you're saying, please. He said that he told him, please don't hurt any more people. That means it's either a hostage situation or an active shooter. In either way, you've got to get the kids out, whatever it is. But then he still heard other shots later, and somehow he did. Oh, wait, he's still shooting, but that's not an active shooter. I don't get this crap. This is just ridiculous.
English and then in Spanish because we didn't know who he was. So I constantly was doing that as I had time, trying to get his attention, try to get a response from him.
After an hour,
I don't want to make the mistake of saying, but I'm certain I heard him reload. I heard something over the pin. Obviously, we all know.
would you listen to this shit? Again, I'm hearing this with you for the first time. This is my first time. Would you listen to that shit? I heard him reload. I know I heard something. It's not an active shooter, but you just said you fucking heard him reload. If that's not active, I don't know what the shit is, Arredondo. And this whole, I was calling him out in English and Spanish. That was an hour after this started. You didn't tell these guys it was an hour after it started. And Riptide Crime is our newest member. Wow, I'm so grateful for that, Riptide Crime. If you don't know, Riptide Crime is the channel. We confirmed it's a she. She is the channel that we are watching the Sarah Boone videos of for the past few days, the questionings, the interrogations of people. That's a Riptide Crime. Riptide Crime is just subscribed to my channel. Oh my God, thank you so very much for that. Pop on over to Riptide Crime. And you might like what you see there. Subscribe to her channel, like her videos. Flux says, I hate this man. Yeah, me too. Especially now with this bullshit that's going on here. Especially with this shit. And now, mind you, somebody asked a minute ago, where's the body cam footage? There are lots of body cam footage, and a lot of the body cam footage has been released. And that the body cam footage, plus later inspections, investigations of all of this, inquiries, has showed us that the shit he's talking now is bullshit. This whole, I kept trying to talk to him in Spanish and English, that didn't happen for an hour after it happened, after it started. This whole BS thing, I'm talking to him, I'm calling him out. No, that didn't happen until an hour after. This whole, I heard him reload shit. He had decided this was no longer an active shooter, even though he continued to hear shooting. He continued to hear gunfire occasionally throughout. And now he's saying, I heard him reload. If you're hearing someone reload, that sounds like a goddamn active shooter to me.
I don't know what that sounds like. Not with a pin, I'm sorry, with a clip. I'm assuming he reloaded, but I know he did something with it. I did hear that at one time. I don't know if there was a second. He never responded at all. I never could get a response from him. That was happening throughout us being in there. As more assistance was coming in, I asked for a sniper to set up on the east side building rooftop, hoping that they would have probably 30, 40 degree angle shot down.
He's not being prosecuted.
They would have had a good shot from over there, so I asked for that. I know
he
that
needs
probably
to
never
be charged
occurred.
with something.
I
don't know what. Just charge him with something.
As more tactical units showed up, obviously you recognize who's BP, because we don't know most of those guys, and most of them are Anglo. They stand out to us. So I know those are BP, and I know those are probably Bortac. Smart thing for us to do, obviously with a handgun, is we need to let these guys make entry when it's that time. I did let them know.
Let them make entry when it's that time? You mean like 77 minutes later? Is that the time? Let them make entry when it's time. Oh, I just have a little pew-pew. They have big pew-pews. We'll let them go in when it's time. 77 minutes later. Let's go back a little bit. Fuck it.
So
go back about a minute.
As more assistance was coming in, I asked for a sniper to set up on the east side building rooftop, hoping that they would have probably 30, 40 degree angle shot down if they was.
Sounds good to me. Why didn't you let him take a shot
from over there? So I asked for that. I know that probably never occurred because
it did occur.
Whatever the case was. As more tactical units showed up, obviously you recognize who's BP, because we don't know most of those guys, and most of them are Anglo. They stand out to us. So I know those are BP, and I know those are probably Bortac. Smart thing for us to do, obviously with a handgun, is we need to let these guys make entry when it's that time. I did let them know we're taking these kids out first. We need to preserve the life of everybody around them first.
I let them know we're taking the kids out. We need to protect the lives of everyone around? You mean the lives of everyone except the ones that are in the damn classroom with the shooter? Yeah. Yeah, the Border Patrol people, they're the Anglos. They stand out. Or they stand out like they're the only competent fuckers on site.
First. And so we were having a hard time getting that door open because we tried, I can't tell you how many keys and master keys.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. This lying piece of shit. This lying dirtbag. We had an incredibly, what did you say? Incredibly difficult time with, anyway, we had a difficult time getting the door open. We tried numerous keys. What a fucking lie that is. What an absolute piece of shit lie that is. Let's listen to this, bearing in mind that this door was not locked. Let's listen to this shit about keys, bearing in mind the door wasn't locked.
Hard thing for us to do, gun, is we let
shit.
these guys make entry when it's that time. I did let them know we're taking these kids out first. We need to preserve the life of everybody around them first. And so we were having a hard time getting that door open because we tried, I can't tell you how many keys and master keys. We had even other school employees come and bring us more keys to try. For whatever reason, some of the keys we had weren't working.
This is such bullshit. I can't. I'm utterly stunned. This lying mother effer. He is making it sound like they tried keys on the door where the guy was. They're trying to make it sound like they used keys on the room where the shooter was. That's what he's trying to say. He's implying we tried so many master keys and other keys on that door when not one single time did they try it on that door. Why? Because the door wasn't locked. This lying piece of shit. He screwed around he waited 40 minutes and then he screwed around for another 40 minutes trying to find the damn keys. And then he's trying them in other doors. The whole time the room is absolutely unlocked and they could have just waltzed right in. This is okay. He's rendered me speechless, and that's an accomplishment. Anybody that can render me speechless, congrats to you. This guy has literally, I got nothing to say to this piece of shit. Let's keep going.
And the reason I say that was because to get up there and open that door, that's the only way to open that door. You probably saw it. It's a very small window. It might probably not easy to bust out. I don't remember if it was shattered at the time or not.
They never tried to touch the door handle of the room where the shooter
Nobody could do it. Obviously, we called
the door we talking about? Right?
The door where we were certain he was at. And I know I had those numbers memorized, but the numbers we're certain were the suspect entrance.
Wait, did he just bold-faced lie?
The number because I had it there. Obviously, very small window.
We know he never tried the door where the shooter was. Did he just say they tried all this shit on the door where they knew he was? If they did, that is just an absolute bald-faced lie.
It might probably not easy to bust out. I don't remember if it was shattered at the time or not. But we needed a key to get in, and nobody could do it. Obviously, we called
the door we talking about. Right?
The door where we were certain he was at.
Okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's saying we needed a key to get in the door where we knew he was. Not that they were trying all of this crap on the door where they thought he was. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on this one.
I know I had those numbers memorized, but the numbers we're certain were the suspect entrance. I wish I could remember the number because I had it there, obviously, because we use the numerics off the doors to call out which room number he was in. And so obviously we're asking for tactical equipment to try to prop open. I don't think I ever saw that. I don't know if it was because nobody could get some at the time.
Yeah, you
I'm
had
not
it.
sure
It was
what
there.
occurred, because again, we're right in there. I wasn't aware what was going on outside.
The chief of police, the head honcho, the guy in charge, didn't know what was going on outside. What happened to the battering rams? They had them. They had the entry tools. Chaos coordinator says, have some whiskey, Jeff. Keep your heart safe. Not the liver, though. Yeah, we need a refill here. Some delicious Bushmills Black Bush tonight. This is bad. This is just bad.
Across the hallway, I can just tell you, I obviously it was Javier Martinez, Johnny Joe Field, and then I did see Juan Hernandez. He is our city fire marshal. And I know there was more. That's who I could see. Juan Juan Hernandez. And he's a friend, so I recognize him. There's some people I didn't recognize on the other side. On the side where we're at, I know I had Paxton.
Yes, he was
Callahan.
fired 3 months later, but he said it was a
came up
public
behind us at
lynching
some
and
point.
demanded his job back.
He's probably
in
one of the best shots around here, so I was happy he was there. And I know he had a rifle, so he was in that little corner where we were at, and so him and Greg were pretty much the rifles in that particular area.
It wasn't locked.
I was trying to get on the phone, trying to coordinate getting these kids out, and of course my phone was ringing off the wall from everybody in the world, so I minimized that. I answered no questions, answered no phone calls.
The police chief, who's just said that he threw his radios to the ground and was using his cell phone to communicate with 9 freaking 1-1. As you said, he's getting calls from everywhere, so he minimized it and didn't answer phone calls from anybody. So now he's not even paying attention to the only piece of equipment he has for communicating with other people.
So I know that part of the discussion with the tactical teams, because I know there was another team set up. Obviously, you could tell they were lined up. They were trained. On our side, we had that as well.
They're lined up and trained, and you didn't tell them to go in.
Clarification that the rest of the students were out. It was a go, but I know they had a problem trying to figure out how they're going to get in through this little door.
Do this! Or push the door's not fucking locked!
I was concerned at some point during that time, I was concerned about him climbing up into the cookies, because they're cookies like this. That's what we call these cookies. I didn't want him to go up and get out and go out somewhere. I know I made numerous calls and called out, but we need to make sure it was completely surrounded. It's a differently angled building, and I didn't want to pop up somewhere else and run off.
They thought he'd go
the
through
structure
the
of it. And that particular building is a newer building than the rest of those wings I was talking to you about. But I know they connect through awnings. Right. So I didn't want this dude to come out. This individual to come out, run across an awning, get into another building, and you just try to minimize all that. So I know that was one of the things that I was calling out.
So they wanted to make. What is this? All right, I'm speechless again. He wants to make sure that the guy didn't crawl through the ceiling tiles, escape onto an awning, run across awnings, jump off the building, and flee. This isn't fucking Assassin's Creed, dude. You could just go in the room and take him out. I didn't want him going through the ceiling and run across awnings. So you do like climb up the school tower, see a hay bale blown and go scream and dive off like freaking Assassin's Creed. Come on.
Very often. Once they made entry, and I'll back up, they did finally get a key. I said, before you try that, try it on another door, because I don't want to. Obviously, you think he's going to start shooting right when you're messing with that key. And I'm sure he's going to hear it. But I said, try it on another door before you try it on that one. If it opens up one of the other doors, then have at it. So I know they did that. Johnny Field was part of that key, and then I don't know who the tactical officer that I say tactical because I know he was geared up unlocked it. So I know when they unlocked it and opened it, I couldn't see the door, but obviously it got out of his grip, and then he was able to reach back and grab it again. You know, in other words, it partially closed again. He got out of his grip and he pulled back, and there was no gunfire at that time, which surprised the hell out of me. But it wasn't but seconds later that there was a gunfire exchange. Then everybody rushed. There was a lot of EMS.
There was a gunfire exchange, and then everybody rushed. I don't think that happened. I don't think that happened. Oh yeah, it's Trenton. We confirmed there were at least 19, possibly well over 20 heavily armed police officers outside the correct door. Just nobody ever bothered to check whether it was locked. Nobody attempted to go in, and there were about 400 other police officers outside. Yeah, I don't think there was that exchange of fire and they rushed in. He must be confused.
Tease there, obviously, because they were saying, hey, in other words, cops get out of the way, here's what we're doing. But we started to carry out the deceased, not deceased, the ones you could tell that were still alive. There was some movement there. One in particular one was Eva Ruiz, which is one of my officer's teachers that passed away. She was still alive, and I know they were carrying her out.
Yeah. Hey, Arredondo. You fuckwit. You think your fellow officer's wife would still be alive if you didn't wait more than an hour and 10 minutes, almost an hour and 20 minutes to go in? You think she'd still be alive? You think the fact that she lay there bleeding for 70 some odd minutes had anything to do with her death? It's on you, motherfucker.
And I obviously gave her some words of encouragement to fight. And I don't remember what she mumbled. I probably couldn't understand.
She probably mumbled, "You're a piece of shit for taking so long to get in there."
And I know there was another child that was carried out. Obviously, it was an overwhelming amount of help. Everybody's trying to do what they can. I want to say there was some movement from that child, and I want to say I saw the movement from when she was laying down next to a few others that I think were pretty much deceased at that point. I don't remember how many we pulled out of that particular room. So that's when I realized there's an adjoining door, and the suspect was in the next room, and there was some more deceased in there. I didn't walk in there. We were worried about this room. There was plenty of help over there, and then obviously we started pulling out those individuals that we could.
I'm sorry. So
Sure.
you noticed there was that adjacent door. The subjects were already down.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I figured they were down. I didn't go in there. There was plenty of help over there, and we're trying to focus on these people in here, and obviously clear the rest of the room because there was without being extremely specific, because I can't remember the specifics. There's cabinets, there's drawers. I did a quick sweep to make sure there was nobody else around in that particular room.
Chief, when you got there,
Yes,
did
sir.
you hear any gunshots?
Yes, sir. Oh, plenty.
How many? So when you arrived, how many do you think you heard?
It's hard to give you a number because I remember.
Numerous?
Yeah, a lot. And I say that I remember when I was running from those winged buildings I was talking to you about. There's a big grass area.
Oh, plenty of guns. I heard plenty of shots. Yeah, I heard plenty, like a lot. But I decided it wasn't an active shooter situation and declared it a bunkered or whatever the frick term he said. Yeah, that doesn't sound anything like an active shooter, does it?
dirt. Grass doesn't grow much without rain. A big dirt area before you get to that one south entrance I'm telling you about. That's probably about a give or take 100-yard area from the end of that wing to that back door entrance. I am certain I heard right before I entered, I heard the shots. So when I opened the door, that's when I saw the smoke. So obviously it was. Go ahead.
So then that's where I'm getting to. So when you hear those, you obviously enter that hallway.
Right.
Do you almost go all the way to what you're saying would be the room where he was in?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when the shots started firing again.
Okay.
I felt, when you're downrange and you hear, I don't think I felt. I could hear shots going. I don't know what side they were on me, but that's the same time that Lieutenant Martinez was.
Again, how in Christ's name is this not an active shooter? Someone please explain this to me. Someone please explain how this is not an active shooter. I've literally got nothing. At this point, I don't even feel angry now. I honest to God don't feel angry anymore. I've kind of, to be honest with you, I'm just listening to this shit. I'm feeling bewildered. That's like really what I'm feeling. I'm feeling an amazing amount of just utter bewilderment right now. How this could even happen, how he could be spewing this shit the day after. And again, remember, this is the day after the shooting occurred. All right, let's keep rolling.
Was ducking because I guess that's when you got some shrapnel.
And
the officers were ducking because they got shrapnel. Oh, you mean because there was like little pieces of plaster raining down on their delicate little fucking skulls? Yeah, that's taking shrapnel.
And you go up to what you believe may be the room.
Yeah, I can't tell you how close I got to that little indention.
Yes, sir.
I'd lie to you if I tell you how close I got to it. In my mind, I want to say I saw part of a window, but I don't know if it was that one or the other window because it was two doors, right? But I don't remember how close I got. That's when the shot started to get fired.
So when do you move back a little bit?
I know I did because at some point I got behind that indention across the hall, or even maybe on the same one. I know I was on the same side for a bit. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. When I backed up, I went into the next indention, and I remember I went into that adjoining room to where I know where the suspect was at. That was one I was telling you about, where I think the blinds were probably a little more open. There was a little more light in there. I'm certain it wasn't this light. I'm sure it was blinds. And I went in there to look to clear real quick, and then I saw that there was some holes in the wall, and I guess that's probably from where he was shooting. I don't know if it was when he was shooting when we were there or before that.
And while you're there, you hear silence for a little while?
Yeah, there was a lot of silence. I've been running through my head if I recall any more firing after that. I don't recall. But
other than the assisting the agencies coming in and taking them out, correct?
Yeah, that was well after. That's correct.
But in between that time,
there was a lot of silence.
Okay.
Because that's when I was.
He's still sticking with that bullshit story that there was an exchange of fire that led them to enter the room. Clearly, that was proved wrong.
Trying to call out for him. We're getting some more help. We're positioning them with guys with the long rifles, and a lot of silence in between that time.
And you had made the statement that you believed, from your experience, that there was probably deceased in that room, and that is why maybe
I
you didn't
don't
go
know,
forward
King
because there was
King.
no long
I
rifle.
don't know.
I think you only said everybody else had a handgun, right?
Right. I don't recall what they had across the hall from me. I I wouldn't be able to tell you what even Martinez had. And I was not far from him. I can't recall if he had a long rifle or not. You know.
So again, the chief of police, the guy in charge, the head honcho, the number one, the guy, the man, the top dog, doesn't know. He doesn't know what weaponry the people standing immediately next to him have. No fucking clue. No situational awareness whatsoever. Nancy Joe Mizichek, you're going to tell me how to pronounce your name if you're going to be super chatting. Just it looks Polish to me. So I'm guessing Mizichek, but I could be horribly, horribly wrong because nobody really knows how to pronounce Polish names if it's Polish. His matter-of-fact tone is chilling to me considering what occurred the day before. Yeah, nothing like this has ever occurred before, but it's just another day at the office for him.
Obviously, your focus is on that door, and obviously you see him.
Messiasek.
I don't recall what he had in his hand.
And
I'm going to say Mrs.
Did you see his face?
We'll let her decide.
Javier Martinez.
No.
Oh, no, the individual.
You never saw him.
No, never saw him at all.
Okay.
When I entered, never saw him. I just saw a cloud of smoke, and obviously casings.
And Uvalde CISD does or does not
Messiasek,
carry
that's
body
what I'm
cams?
going for.
Has never carried body cams?
When I arrived 2 years ago, and it hadn't happened yet. So grant writing is minimal. We pretty much have to do our own. And
all right, sorry to delay this, but we have a super VIP here in chat. Steph the Alternate, hey up, everyone from 12,000 meters in the sky. Wait, what? You're streaming on your plane from the UK to Florida? You're watching me? That's got to be costing you an arm and a leg. Steph the Alternate on a plane somewhere between the United Kingdom and Florida, checking in with that is a super awesome, ultra dedicated Steph the Alternate. Literally, I don't think anyone else has ever in the history of this channel ever checked in from a flight somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean. Steph the Alternate, you fucking rock. Hands down, you're super. Everyone, just because of this, you need to go over to Steph the Alternate's channel. Click on her, subscribe to her, like every video she's ever done. She gives you your daily dose of nerdism, pop culture. Chris Boozy, the Royals, Prince Harry. She does lots of Johnny Depp. She does all of the shiz. Go to Steph the Alternate, who is checking in from 12,000 meters above the Atlantic Ocean. What's your fucking excuse for not checking in, peeps? Steph the Alternate in the house. You rock. And I'm happy you got the book I sent you, like literally the day before you go to Florida and meet the guy who wrote the book. I'm so glad you got that. Nancy Joe, it's Polish. Yes, I wasn't being racist. It is Polish. Misha Zek. Okay, it's Misha Zek. Okay, all right. All I know is like we have the football coach Krasuski. That's just Coach Krasuski, not Krzyzewski. So Misha Zek. Gotcha. I'll try to remember that. I'm shit with names. Misha Zek. Got to remember it. All right. Yep, there's Wi-Fi on the plane, says Steph. Everybody checking in with Steph. What's a meter? Oh, thank you so much for interjecting this little moment of levity in this really shitty situation. This is horrible. Steph says, booyah! All right. Phew. Steph the Alternate is one of my favorite peeps. Flux wants to know if you're joining the Mile High Club. I'm literally so happy you got Steve's book, like literally a couple of days before you possibly meet Steve. All right. There we go. Let's get back to this. Steph, thank you for joining us from somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean. I owe you so big. You have no idea. You freaking rock. Thank you for making me smile on this really horrific day.
And so, this is the way it works. I don't have a secretary until like 2 weeks.
I love you, Steph. You're so
and I'm on the field as well. So I minimize myself in the office. Grant for cameras, is a plan. Grant from our officers is on a plan. But I told them, it's hard for me to go sit there and start writing the grant because I need to be available for the guys because they all have different things to do, different campuses to go check, and we work the lunch periods. We work after school when they get released. There's fights, whatever. We roam the halls because there's vapes all over the damn place. So I minimize myself in the office. I take care of the procurement I have to take care of because we have to have the minimal equipment we have, and I do timesheets. Most emails I'm doing them on my phone in the car while I'm parking or at the house eating. I don't like to be in my office much because I need to be out there with the guys. We're so small that
and that was my next question. So it's yourself, the chief?
Yes, sir.
You have a lieutenant?
Yes, sir. And then we have 4 officers now. When I got there, we had 2. Last August, we acquired 2 more.
Okay. So it's Lieutenant
Mike Hernandez.
Hernandez, yeah. And then your officers are?
So the first one, I'll go in my order, Ruben Ruiz, and that's the one that lost a wife.
Ruben Reese that he's talking about now, he's the police officer that they took his phone, took his weapon, and removed him from the scene because he wanted to go in because his wife was one of the teachers that had been shot, and they wouldn't do anything, and they took his gun and took him out of the scene. That's Ruiz who he's talking about, right?
She passed, yes, sir. And then we have Adrian Gonzalez with an S at the end. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's 2 ways to spell Gonzalez.
Z's and S's.
Yeah, and I told them they're both wrong. And then Ruby Gonzalez with a Z. And then last Friday was the last day of Officer Cecilia Flores, and she was nowhere. She wasn't around. She's gone as of last Friday on the payroll till the end of June.
I'm just trying to again visualize.
Sure.
Now, whenever someone who's investigating says, now I'm just trying to visualize, or now I'm just trying to piece this together, now I'm just trying to understand, that means they think you're full of shit. Because that means you're not making any sense. And they're like, okay, now I know what you're telling me. I hear what you're saying to me. Now I'm just trying to visualize how this all comes together. I'm just trying to think. So these investigators, they know that's a big clue right there, that they know he's not being honest, or he's not remembering things correctly, or whatever it is. But yeah, now Snuggles, I wasn't avoiding it. I just wanted to give it a little bit of time here. I hate how the internet is so censorious now. Robb Elementary and Uvalde, both shooters in group chat. This is the same. Uvalde is Robb Elementary. So yeah, it's the same place. Both shooters in group chat with retired Fed on Discord and police. Cops knew he was a danger. Yeah, well, and even the morning that this happened, he was texting friends and people saying he's going to do something. Watch this. He shot his grandmother in the face before he went to the school. He was a known threat. Okay, you are correct. He was a known problem. But this isn't Minority Report. This isn't the Philip K. Dick novel. We don't have a pre-crime division where you can't just arrest someone because you think they might possibly commit a crime. That's the unfortunate reality of this. But it is frustrating. But I mean, again, what do you want to do before he actually does something? It's it's just so frustrating all around. He shot his Meemaw, in the face. And she lived. Thankfully, she lived.
You're coming down the hallway as shots are being fired. you get close to the door, and what I'm understanding is the door to the room that it sounded like he may have been in.
Adriana, read the short
What
story.
you recall
It's
is
way
that
better
door was already
than
closed.
the movie.
Yeah, those doors were closed.
Okay.
I in my mind, since this has happened, I want to say I picture, because I know on where I stood, I have this visual. When this closes, the gap is there enough to where you can see the lock, or the hammers, as you call it. And I don't know why in my mind I'm thinking, I know I saw the hammer with the I call it the hammer with a thumb. So it's to do with the little locking mechanism. I guess is what it is.
Listen to this mother effer. I don't know how, but I just like some Steven Seagal bullshit. I don't know how. I just looked at the lock and I could see in the gap that the hammer, the locking mechanism was engaged. You lying monster. You lying, degenerate, filthy monster. Still, the Auto Nerd says, right, I'm going back to sleep now. Enjoy the rest of the stream, and Jeff will speak with you later, mate. Hey, have a great rest of the flight. Check out all those free movies available to you if you're in-flight entertainment, and enjoy your time at the concert and everything else you got lined up, Steph. You freaking rock. Love you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Yeah, let's get back to I saw the locking mechanism engaged. I knew it was there. I knew it was locked because I could see it through the gap in the lock. Bullshit. Clearly, demonstrably, you've been proven wrong. Philip K. Dick's written a lot of short stories that have been turned into movies. We don't want to get sidetracked here, but yeah, Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? That was Blade Runner. He also wrote Minority Report. The movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger when they went to Mars. What the hell was that? The book was called We'll Remember It For You Wholesale. The movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone. Total Recall. That's right. Yeah, we'll remember it for you. Wholesale is the name of the short story that was built on. The miniseries they did a couple of years ago, The Man in the High Tower, that was written by Philip K. Dick. A huge amount of Philip K. Dick's novels have been turned into short stories, movies, and TV series. So yeah, read Minority Report. It's much better than the movie. So, all right, get back to this.
I feel I saw that, but I wouldn't be able to sit here and tell you, yes, for a fact I saw that. It's been in my mind since this occurred. So I don't know if I got that close to be able to see that.
You
So
didn't see it was
closed.
locked.
How heavy duty, like if you wanted to, would you have been able to get into that door without breaching gear?
No, those are solid doors. And I say that because what we do when we walk these campuses, we check every one of those doors when we're walking. If we find an unlocked one, we will say, hello, ma'am, door's unlocked. We remind them to lock it. We do that. We're a pain in the ass, but we try to be as friendly as possible to them to let them know we need to keep these doors locked. And those exit doors, occasionally you'll find they put a rock to keep those doors from closing so they can go back in, because they have a parking lot there in that particular camp building. They'll go out, grab something out of their car, or take their break and walk out.
Nothing.
And they do that so that
nothing at all. The book is so cool.
They might not have a key. I don't know.
Enough of the book. Let's focus
on walk around. Or they just want to call the key. Since I've gotten here, we've been educating as much as we can. We put on their first presentation they ever had, which is ridiculous to me. Last summer, first presentation on what a lockdown and secure and all these procedures are and what you're supposed to do. We spoke to every campus, repeatedly tell them we need to keep doors locked at all times, exterior classroom doors, period. So they know that. Lieutenant Hernandez is probably the biggest stickler next to me about checking doors when they walk to campuses.
Well, you didn't check the door where the shooter was, did you?
We're all housed. Majority of us are housed at the high school. The largest population, more narcotics. The reason fights are minimal is because of the presence, and we have a good discipline administrator. The junior high, we have one officer there all the time, which is the Cedar Flores who just left. They would have a lot more of a problem. It's a lot more of a discipline problem. A lot of vaping. So what happens is she stays there all day and never leaves. The schedule we created, since we have those 2 new officers, is once all the high school kids are in, the early person that comes in that day goes and walks every one of those campuses, up and down those hallways. They have to. And they're told to check doors. I'm sure they don't check every door every day.
I think he sleeps peacefully at night because he thinks he did
comes to get close to the lunch hour at that time. We start doing the lunch breaks. We send 1 or 2 to go eat specific times. We'll all work the school lunch, because we have 600 kids at one period and 600 at another. So we have 3 or 4 officers at that time. Keeps everything from getting out of hand. And then Ruben and Mike usually eat on campus and stay there. At some point during that time, I go to the house to go eat. And after we come back, the late officer has to go walk those campuses again, up and down every hall, make contact with people and say hello and check some doors. If for some reason they don't go, it's because we're inundated with calls, which, believe it or not, that happens. And they're catching up on reports, and we get vaping possessions. We get threats, we get deaths.
Why is
like
he keep
that.
worrying about vaping possession?
It's bothersome to know that guy walked in. I could only assume that it was probably unlocked, and I don't know. But it seemed to have gotten in pretty quick. So it's bothersome to see that. It's sad. But
You're bothersome
anyway,
and sad.
I didn't mean to go off, sir. But yeah, those doors are heavy.
Okay.
Yeah, those doors are heavy. Yeah, you obviously.
And then I guess, because you know this, I don't, but they're mechanically locked from the inside, or they automatically lock when they're shut?
They're every door, whenever I find that they're open, they're usually like this, so I can swing it open and check it, and I let the teacher know. And they're usually locked already. They just didn't close them
Usually.
most of the time.
So the teacher has to physically lock it.
I don't know if on all of them. Some locks are different. Some don't even have this deal. Some are just locked. I don't recall what the other side looks like, because I'm always on the outside.
Okay.
It's either a door key or something. You know what I mean?
He doesn't know what the outside door looked like. He doesn't know what the inside door looked like because he was on the outside. They look pretty similar, I would imagine. You're not going to have a knob inside and a push bar on the outside. Usually locked. Usually. Well, it was known well beforehand there was a problem with this door. They knew it didn't lock. All you had to do was ask somebody. All you had to do was try. Just literally try the door, and he would have found out it wasn't locked. It couldn't be locked because it was broken.
I don't get to see this, but honestly. So I don't know what that side looks like on all of them. But I do know there's keys. There's a key to get in every door. I do know that. But yeah, they're every door they're locked.
There's a key that gets in every door with a lock? Yeah. See, this is the thing. I don't think he knows yet. I don't think he's aware that the door was unlocked. I don't think he knows that yet. The way he's relying on all this door locking bullshit, I think in his head, he believes the door was locked at this point. I don't think he knows.
I know I couldn't pull that bastard open. There's no way I can pull that thing open.
There's no way I could pull that bastard open unless you had actually fucking tried. I couldn't have pulled that bastard open. It was unlocked.
It's solid. I'm sure you guys saw the aftermath of the shot of the door. There's a bullet hole through it. I'm going to assume that was one that almost hit Javier Martinez. But I never seen the inside of that thing. But obviously it's metal, anyway, I remember seeing that view, and I figured no wonder these doors
got
are so
fired.
dang. They're tough doors.
Yeah. I guess logically, one of those doors had, so the two classrooms that we're talking about, is there only two doors that possibly can get into these rooms, and there's a door that connects the two?
Joining, yeah, and I didn't know that until we walked in, obviously.
Okay.
I don't know if all the classrooms are like that. I don't know that. But yeah, there's a door to, only one door to each one of those rooms.
And we'll never know this, but it just, the only thing that makes sense is that one of those doors was unlocked.
Right.
Correct? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just, we didn't see like
because
a
he went
bullet through the locking mechanism.
right.
had
No, I don't think I did. Yeah, and so obviously I didn't think about that at the time. I don't know how we got in. Those are those doors I was telling you that they have that construction issue. I reported that to Mrs. Gutierrez, the principal. And I know it's been a long time, and I know sometime after, I remember still having to see that. And then when I would call out the teachers, because they know we called them out, and they're like, "Sir, we've told them it's the you know, they don't know what it's called, but it's a door sill." And I understand, ma'am, you know, and I always tell them because there's a work order system through the software that they use, and you enter a work order to get something done. And I told them, y'all need to do that or send an email so it's documented, you know, because I know they get busy.
Yeah.
And I know the principal, if I go call her and tell her, she's probably got 20 other things going on, and they probably don't write it down, you know. And so I would always tell them, email them, put it in writing. But yeah, I mean,
This laughter is so inappropriate. I mean, weird. Just weird. I got no other words for it. Again, I got nothing to say. Holy crap. I'm just stunned at the stuff coming out of his mouth. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. We still got 20 minutes of this crap left.
now that you're asking, I never thought about that at the time. My only thought was this,
Right.
because that room itself, those two rooms, I remember those specifically because those were always like that.
Mhm.
And I remember when I would go swing doors, I'm like, damn it, the door's open. And I remember that section without even knowing the numbers. I know those were the ones that I found often. So I knew the rest of the building was probably like that, you know.
So
Shut up, dude.
could it be that he was pushing on doors and came to this door?
It's very likely. It's likely to me, and this is why I walked into a room across on the other side. That one was unlocked, you know. So my thought was, door was probably unlocked. It's either unlocked or this was going on.
His thought was the door was. Wait, you guess what? Your thought was
One or
right.
the other for him
So
to
he
go in.
went, maybe pushed,
It'd have been easy
because
to,
he would have passed,
because I did for two other rooms.
but he, in that hallway, he would have passed one.
There was a utility room on the left. That door was closed, and on the right hand side, I want to say is the first set of doors on both sides.
Yeah, so he,
Because the rest of that, the opposite side of where he was at, across there is a door. I think there's two, but the rest of the from there to the end of the hallway, I know there's a division door, but I want to say that whole other side there is a classroom. So there wouldn't be an entrance through that side. I know the entrance is through the north side where he came in from. There is a door over there, and that leads. And to try to give you an idea, I don't want you to miss this because the hat's in the way. So I know where he walked in was in there. There's this hallway here. This is the hallway that he was in, and I know there's a division there.
Draw some
I'm certain there's a
pictures. That'll
division
help.
door there that I can think of. Sometimes most of the time it's open, but I think there's a division door there. I could be wrong, but I think there's a division door there. It's always open if it is. This first set of classroom doors, this is where the suspect was at, right? This is the other one. This here, there's no doors here that I can recall because that entrance to that room is right over here. So I'm certain this
He
is
would
the
have
first.
come in where? Right there? Your fingers?
this way.
Yeah, well, and the reason I know he did it only because of the information we got after
Right.
he came in this way. I didn't know he had been in this room and there was some deceased there. We didn't know until we went in here when he was taken out. I didn't go into this room. That's where he was. I went into this room because everybody went to go help. I found my way to get into here and start trying to see if we could help start moving some bodies or some victims. When we were done, we came out. At some point when I went this way,
just the casual way. I started moving some bodies, some victims. It's 19 children. 19 baby children going to elementary school. Just bodies, man. We're just clearing out the bodies. It's just like he's reading the freaking weather, Sarah Price, thank you so much for the $10. No, $9.99, same thing. Thank you so much for that. I deeply appreciate it, particularly on days like this where we talk about some very serious topics. Thank you for your support. Deeply appreciate it. And while we're at it, let's clear through that. Kyle Cowan, I think Blade Runner was better than the book. Curb your tongue, knave. Shame on you. Adriana, Stephen Seagal. Is that like Jonathan Livingston's brother? Stephen Seagal like that. And Snuggle Struggle says, sorry, the other was not a school. The other mass shooting he was talking about. Buffalo Supermarket Massacre. Okay, yeah. On May 14th, just a few days after this. Peyton Gendron, I don't like to say their names, but yeah, Peyton Gendron, 10 days prior to the school. I was right. It was before, not after. It was the 24th, so 10 days. Yeah, right. Sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you for the clarification. Appreciate it. All right, let's rock.
Is when I realized there's victims over here. I didn't know that at the time.
This is a room back here?
Yes, sir. This is another room. I don't remember exactly where the door is at, but there's another room up here. I know there was some deceased in there.
So that's a completely separate room. That's not one that has an adjoining door with.
Not with these. I don't know where this goes. So this is another hallway here, and I know there's more rooms here as you go out. This is another exit over here, and I don't recall what's here. I know there's a utility room in here somewhere.
Yeah, and apparently they had no plan to check to see whether the door was actually locked or not.
AC issues one time. Fire alarm went off, and we were in there messing with that.
So it's likely there were two separate doors that were unlocked. That door into that room up here.
Oh,
and then somewhere a door that got him into these two rooms.
Yeah, I didn't get to see what those locks looked like. I know I walked through there, but I didn't pay attention to see if that was.
But there's no doubt that this door should have been locked.
Yes, sir. They're all supposed to be locked all the time. We check them. I was one of those that I push them or I punch them. I just do. Because I tested it's locked. Because there's some, I don't remember how this is. Some are the push bar type doors. And I don't recall if that one is like that.
That's an exterior door?
Yes, sir. Most of them are. The parking lot's here for the teachers. This one as well. I know I grabbed it and it was unlocked. So I know someone left it unlocked. And it's probably teachers. They.
The exterior doors, do you know what kind of locking mechanism they have? Is it like a powered magnetic lock or something?
No, I don't recall any kind of magnet. Most of them are I know most of them have the push bar on the inside and have the thumb press on the outside. A lot of them do.
Okay.
I don't recall if this one's that or not.
Okay.
I'd lie to you. I do know when I walked in, it was unlocked. And that was the first thing that upset me. The door's unlocked because some we push on,
Okay. So, these types of things, this one, along with any other one like this, is going to be studied to see like what can, when I say we, because any one of us could be, involved in something like this in the future. Like, these locked doors seem like it's a control. It's something we could do differently.
I agree.
Something that, wouldn't motivate somebody or wouldn't lead to somebody getting complacent or having a reason to leave it unlocked because it's inconvenient.
Key cards. Key card entries is what we need. That's on our bond that I've suggested. We're supposed to go out for a bond in November. The district I worked in Laredo was key card. The thing just locks. Every time it closes, it locks. And you're not going to push that bastard open. So we all had key cards. And I brought that up when I first came in, and I brought up fencing because coming from the United ISD, school district is a very wealthy district. There's a guard at every entrance to every campus. There's a cop at every campus, and there's security guards at every campus, and some multiple. We had four high schools, and we had 4 to 5 officers and a sergeant at every high school, and about 10 guards. And there was a gate guard, 1 entrance, 1 exit. And so when I moved back, man,
A little shock.
it was a shock. But I'm from Uvalde. I know it's an old school mentality still sometimes. Not having AR-15s is another one. Not that I've been shut down with it. You got to time yourself on what you're going to present, obviously, and the request. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have that. So in the bond, we just had a facilities meeting, and obviously they asked me about security. And so by all means, cameras, and by all means, key cards, because I know what key cards and the magnetic strength that has. And you're not going to push those doors open. It takes a ton to push those doors open.
Again, you miserable piece of crap. The door was unlocked the entire time. And you didn't even know. You spent 40 minutes looking for a key to a room that was unlocked. All Out of Bubblegum says Neuromancer was better than Johnny Mnemonic, but Gibson's writing is dry AF. Yeah, Gibson's writing really is dry, but he does have some great ideas. Neuromancer is a great book that everybody should read. It was the book that coined the term cyberspace. It gave birth to the cyberpunk genre. Yeah, Neuromancer is a great book, but we're not talking about books. Northwest Backcountry. Hold a ballistic shield or 2 up against the door. Pound on the door with a door hammer. Break it down. Stun grenades through the window. Get her down. Except all they had to do was hold a ballistic shield or 2 up against the door, turn the damn handle or push the damn button, whatever it was. The door wasn't locked. It would have opened easily. They just had to try. They didn't. Literally, just put your ballistic shields there, open the door, take the guy out. Done. This is rough.
And you're right. We're going to get scrutinized. I'm expecting that.
Yeah, you're going to be scrutinized.
Go in there. I know what the firepower he had based on what shells I saw, the holes in the wall in the room next to his. I also know I had students that were around there that weren't in the immediate threat, besides the ones that I know were in the immediate threat. And the preservation of life around everything around him, I felt was priority, because I know there was probably victims in there. And with the shots I heard, I know it's probably somebody who's going to be deceased.
So he thought everybody in the room was dead, is what he's saying. He thought everybody was already dead, despite the fact that there's 7, 8, 9 911 calls being made during all of this. He's hearing continued shooting. I think what he's saying is he just assumes everyone else was dead in the room, so he just had to take care of people that weren't in the room.
I know these weren't, and I know there was a barrier with us for him coming back out to going out to those doors.
Okay. From what I'm understanding, though, there really was no expeditious way to get in there.
Other than opening the door.
Yeah, because if I could have gone in there and started grabbing that door and go, and I went through there and he took me out, Javi would have been able to jump in after me.
You could have fucking done that. Oh yeah, there's no way to get in. I couldn't got through the bastard. If there was any way, I could have just opened the door and gone in there. Yeah, he would have got me, but the guys behind me would have got him. I would have sacrificed my life for these children. You bitch, this door wasn't locked. You literally could have done exactly what you just said. He literally could have done this shit, but he couldn't be bothered to even check to see if that door was locked or not. Listen to this shit. Listen to this shit. This is him saying, oh, I would, if I could have been the hero, I would have been the hero. I would have taken the bullet for those little kids. If only I could have got into the door. The door that's not locked. Listen to this shit.
No, there was probably victims in there. And with the shots I heard, I know it's probably somebody who's going to be deceased. I know these weren't. And I know there was a barrier with us for him coming back
Listen
out
to
to
this
going out
shit.
to those doors. You know.
Okay. From what I'm understanding, though, there really was no expeditious way to get in there.
That's yeah. Because if I could have gone in there and started grabbing that door and go, and I went through there and he took me out, Javi would have been able to jump in after him and get it. I know that I wasn't going to be able to grab that door. That's my thought, and that's what I was going to go back to you because I'm not going to sit here and tell you 100% about this, but I have it in my picture in my mind that I saw that. I saw that hammer in there, and usually when that's there, that's locked. Man, 90% of the time.
Right.
And I want to sit here. I'm not going to lie to you. That's in my head, and I'm certain that's what I saw. But I couldn't sit here and tell you, yes, I did. But I could tell.
I saw the bolt, and that usually that locking bolt, that like 90% of the time, that means it's locked. No, if the locking bolt's there, that means 100% of the time it's locked. You didn't see it. Oh, yeah, I think I saw that. I saw that. If I could have just gone in there, I would have taken the bullet. Yeah, he would have got me, but the guy behind me could have got him. Yeah, I would have been the hero. I could have died the hero, but there was just no way for me to get through this door. Bitch, that door was unlocked. Snowflake Nightmare says, when did they find out the door was unlocked? After they went in? They didn't know it was unlocked the entire damn time. They were dicking around the 40 minutes he was looking for keys. They didn't know because they never tried it. Here he is. The door was unlocked. And he's saying, I couldn't get into the bastard. I saw the locking thing in place. And I would have gone in. I would have taken the bullet. Bullshit. Freaking coward. You lying mofo. Carlos Estrada says he's advocating the remodeling into a prison. School? Ugh. Derna 1804, thank you so much for the super chat. A real man does not think of victory or defeat. He plunges recklessly towards an irrational death. From Hagakure by Yamamoto Tsunetomo. I do not know this book. I want to read this book. Oh, this guy.
Tell you for the last day and a half, that lock's been in my mind.
Right.
So sorry, but I'm good. I don't have that now.
But just,
and so
I think you've covered this, but you saw that, and then, but you didn't physically grab it.
no,
Okay.
there was gunfire already coming out by that time.
Okay.
And I know I saw him. I saw Javi duck, and I know I felt something around me. And so kind of what you hear downrange when you're at the range. I know I felt or heard that around me. And later on, obviously, is when I saw the holes coming out. So it looked like he was shooting low, and it probably would have been in our leg area.
Yeah, but mind you, this is not an active
so
shooter.
Obviously, we took cover.
That's not an active shooter, even
obviously been a lot
though
more
there was
comfortable
bullets
than they
flying
are.
all around me. I saw shit. I saw
The thought crossed
shrapnel.
my mind
I
to
saw
start shooting
holes.
through that wall.
But it wasn't
Which
an
has been
active
stupid,
shooter.
but you start thinking there's already somebody deceased in there. You want to start, but obviously we don't ever train to shoot through walls. It's not something that it's not probably the smartest idea, but you always question yourself. Could you have done that? Would it have worked? But would you also might have hit a child? And so
Yeah, you mean
anyway,
the children
all
you
these
didn't
things
think
cross
were
your
in
mind,
there?
and you think about what you can do to stop it.
Okay.
Please go ahead, guys. I want to make sure we clarify.
As you've gone through this in your head so many times, and think about this as if you're talking to not just us, but
No, I'm
the
comfortable.
next people
Sure,
that
sure.
this happens to.
Sure.
Any suggestions you have, or like what may have? Do you think training was sufficient? leading up to this?
I'm comfortable with the training only because when I moved back over here, one of the two new officers I picked up, SWAT, we started doing our own training. Actually, we teach it. We invite other agencies into our training, and I'm just one of those strong-minded individuals that I'm confident in knowing what I'm doing, whether it's something.
All right, hang on here. Extopia says Snuggle Struggle. Bortak used the key to unlock the door. Interim report states we may never know if the door was unlocked. No, the door was known to be unlockable. They had done drills, they had done other things, and there was a problem with the door. The door was known that it could not have been locked. It would not lock. The door was broken. They knew this even before the shooting, and it had never been fixed. This door was unlocked the entire time. So yeah, the door was broken before the shooting happened and could not be locked. So yeah, that's the reality of this thing here. The door was broken. It was known to be broken. It was known it couldn't be locked, and they just didn't bother to find that out. They never even checked. They never even tried.
Academic or something physical. So you could never have enough training, but I was comfortable, and we're hoping.
Ric Flair, that's been disproven. The door was not open.
So
the outside door wasn't open.
Training's never enough, but we have trained. We don't get to train every month. That'd be great in a perfect world. You can't afford it because we have a school to take care of, and I can't pull everybody out for training. But in the summer, that's what we do because that's our free time. We have 4-day weeks, summer school to cover, but we already start planning on what training we're getting. We just spoke with a gentleman from TMPA and let us know about a training called Burst. It's a 2-day tactical training, and I just told the secretary to set that up for July. We're still going to do that, obviously, but we try to get as much training as we can. And I read a ton about the aftermath beforehand and what some of these other districts have gone through and want to learn. Matter of fact, I just emailed with a chief from, won't catch me lying, one of the other locations where we had a school shooting. I asked him if I could meet him in person because I want to learn from him what we can do in this aftermath. It's probably one of the best people to talk to, and what not to do. So I did ask him that we'll meet here in the next few days. So I want to sit down in person, not over the phone. I want to extract some information from him. But to answer your question, I don't mean to rant off so much, guys. This is the very first time I've talked about this whole thing. But to answer your question, you can never have enough training. You never should minimize your personnel. You never should minimize your equipment. In a setting like ours, that's a school in a small town. I don't take it for granted that something's going to happen. Matter of fact, I repeat it. We don't prepare as to that it might have. We prepare that it's going to happen, and we better be prepared. And working for the city and working in Laredo, where you get a million calls, you deal with all sorts of stuff from homicides to thefts and the minimal stuff. To go into a school district, my thought is that kind of work is minimal compared to what we're used to doing because all of us came from the city pretty much. So if something major like this happens, we're not going to mess this up, for lack of better words. So I stressed it upon the guys because we're not. This is the worst thing that's going to happen there, and we better deliver. And so that's why I tell them, y'all read everything you can, and let's train as much as we can. So I send them to the office. Hey man, 30 minutes, knock it out. Go read this. Read what you can and read what you can't do. What you should do and what you shouldn't do. Base it off the agencies that have experienced it. That's who we should learn from. So, but yeah, I mean, to tell you, to be able to give somebody.
All righty, hang on here for just a quick second. Lorax is irate. Lorax is engaged here. Gonna put this shit to rest here. Right quick. First of all, let's get Sarah Price, thank you so much for the super chat. He has no emotion. I would have lost my mind. Yeah. This is just another day at the office for him. It's no biggie for him. Now I just want to clear one thing up here. Xtopia says Snuggle Circle. I'll rewatch it, but he better state where he got that fact from. This is when I was talking about the fact this door has been unlocked the entire time. He better state where he got that fact from. Not that it was unlocked with nothing to back that claim up. I'm not making a fucking claim here, Xtopia. I'm serious. I'm not taking shit today. I'm pissed. This topic, it just rubs me raw from square one. I'm not talking shit here. This is a known fact from day one since this happened. And just for shits and giggles, I'll humor you here a second. We'll go back to the timeline we were talking about here. Let's look once more at this. The shooter enters the school through a door. Okay, we got that door here. The gunman. Oh, am I bringing this up here? It's up. Okay, good. It's up so we can all read this together. The gunman then walks into classroom 111 and doesn't appear to encounter a locked door, according to the school surveillance footage. A report from the Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training Center also determined that the shooter didn't appear to encounter a locked door. The Texas House Committee report elaborates that the door did not lock properly and that it was a widely known fact around the school. Reyes, the room's teacher, had also reported the condition of the door to the school in the past. The door malfunctioned. The door could not lock. The door was not locked. The lock did not engage properly. It was a widely known fact. That's the source from multiple sources. It's not me talking out my ass here. The fact is, the guy didn't fucking lock the door, and the outside door was a different thing as well. The outside door is also a part of that timeline thing. We're talking about two different doors here. The door to the classroom and the door to the outside. The door to the outside, they don't know if it latched properly or not, but it wasn't open. It wasn't propped open with a rock. Video surveillance footage shows that. They don't know whether it was locked or not. They don't know whether it engaged properly or not, but the door into the classroom was always broken, always unlocked, and had been unlocked through the entire thing that they didn't check. Arredondo did not check one single time whether that door was open or not. Got that out of the way. This is a fuck up from square one. He spent 77 minutes not caring about the door and or 40 minutes looking for a key to unlock a door that was already unlocked and could not, in fact, have been locked because it was widely known it was broken. Lorax rant. During 1804 says, on the battlefield, once discretion starts, it cannot be stopped. One will not break through to the enemy with discretion. Indiscretion is most important when in front of the tiger's den. Hakagure. Thank you so much again. Let's get through the end of this. I'm pissed. Oh, yeah, don't be joking about shit right now, you dick. All right, sorry, I was ranting. God damn it. Here we go.
Some school.
I hope you had the audio. I'm still fucking fuming. I'm sorry. I was sharing with myself, and that's important. Glitter fart gets it. Seriously. Sorry about that. We're not going back. You heard it. We got to wrap this up. There's like 3 minutes left. You didn't have the audio? Oh, come on. God damn it. It didn't even have the audio. Shit, you just watched me watching this thing. God damn it. All right, we'll go back a little bit. Nothing, just my face. Great. I hope you saw my face was pissed, because it was. All righty, sorry about that. Let's go back a little bit.
Yeah. Get some PD guys in there because most of them worked with me. I hired a bunch of those guys back in the day, and they come because we have a very good relationship. Some of those guys will come walk those schools, and Coronado's one of them. And I'm certain that's who was behind me running. And I haven't told him yet because I'm going to make fun of him. I don't know how the hell he didn't pass me up.
Yeah.
But
that's what I was pissed about right there. That's what set me off. He's joking about, I'm gonna joke with this guy about how he didn't pass me up when we were running. There is nothing laughable in this situation. And here he is joking about how that guy didn't pass my fat ass up. Why are you joking and laughing about shit like that in the middle of this questioning, you dumbass? That's what set me off. That's what y'all missed.
come walk those schools, and Coronado's one of them. And I'm certain that's who was behind me running. And I haven't told him yet because I'm going to make fun of him. I don't know how the hell he didn't pass me up.
Yeah.
But and I'm certain it was Coronado. But that guy's tactical and
Yeah, that's the 2 minutes of menacing scowl. That's
he's
what
one
set
that
me
comes
off.
over. But not a lot of people take advantage of that invitation. You know?
With Detour, about the shooter himself, had you or any of your officers ever had any issues, or had this kid's name ever come up before?
I don't know the guy at all. And again, I've been gone from the cities. I'm back for 2 years. But considering my first year back, everybody shut down because of COVID. No kids, no nothing, no interactions. Pretty much we trained and got familiar with some school management. But I was gone for 12 years. Now I know this guy's 18. Yeah, the guy was probably, less than 10 years old.
Yeah.
He was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. I don't know him at all. I can only imagine Mike Hernandez, Ruben Reese, Adrian probably know this guy. Those are all detectives like I am from back in the day, and they're great with names in this community. I would imagine they might know the guy. I don't know him at all. There's only one person that we've had.
All right, I'm going to address this. I'm not going to rant. I'm not going to yell. JSD says, legal vices, the key issue came from here. In his statement, Commander Guerrero said, I placed the key into the keyhole. The key worked, and I was able to unlock and open the door. Texas House Report. Yeah, that's not the door where the shooter was. They spent 40 goddamn minutes looking for a master key. They got a master key, and they were testing the master key on a different door, but the master key didn't open the different door, so they got another master key. And Commander Guerrero used that master key to try to open this other door. He put the key in, and it opened this other door. So that's when they said, aha, we have a master key that will open the door where the shooter is. That's where that comes from.
Some serious threats from, and I've been doing that since we got here as a former juvenile that got into the fight with some of the officers and one of the Rangers. She did 6 months, and I've been dealing with her. She's in Puerto Rico making these threats. Got some warrants out for her, doing everything we can before she ever comes back over here. But not him. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know the man.
I think you just lived through a nightmare. All of ours in law enforcement, this is all of our nightmare that something like this would happen.
Sure.
Bella for the win.
We're investigators. We're just out here to find out like what happened.
Sure.
That's for other people to scrutinize and judge what happened. But I think you're very forthcoming your candid responses to everything, I think,
Sure.
are just going to help.
Sure.
Whoever this happens to next.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chief, I appreciate you coming in, man.
Sure, man. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have been outstanding, man. Y'all's agency. Resources are so minimal, and having y'all's is just outstanding. I won't stop appreciating you guys.
Well, we're here for whatever you need.
Appreciate that. Yes, sir.
We're gonna be
I know that, and I feel that.
Yeah.
It's evident.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you, as he said, being candid with us.
Sure.
Uh,
Sure.
it-
I don't think
it
he was
does open
candid.
our eyes.
Sure.
It gives us more perspective of what happened,
Sure.
and I'm sure we'll be in touch, man. But
Sure,
we
sure.
do appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
No,
Chief, do you have anything of us?
No, I'm good. I appreciate y'all guys taking care of this. And y'all are getting on it and knocking things out, and I appreciate that. And I know sometimes I speak a little in slang because I'm comfortable with you guys, obviously.
Yeah.
But I appreciate y'all's work, everybody's diligence and the communication. The support that the community's had from y'all, your visibility, y'all and the troops, I know has given some kind of comfort to the community. And we want to give as much of that as we can. We wouldn't be able to do it without DPS. At the end of the day, y'all are all over the place here, and I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
And I'm very comfortable with y'all. I'm very comfortable picking up that phone because I'm just comfortable. I'm a good judge of character. A good bullshitter, and somebody coming across, and I feel some genuine individuals, and I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for
Appreciate
the
y'all.
interview, all right?
Yes, sir.
Ugh. Well, that's it. Guy's a dick. Now, look, just gonna blah, 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 right. Let's clear a couple super chats, then clear up a couple things, and then we're done here. Yeah. Thank you, T. That was for the 2 minutes of scowling menace when he was just like joking. Oh, I'm gonna joke with him. I'm gonna give him shit because he couldn't catch up with me. We'll get back to this. Snuggle Struggle says, in my humble opinion, this egregious failure in leadership should be the most blatant example of why we should remove gun-free zones, not further restrict our Second Amendment. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. Kyle Cowden, thank you so much for your super chat. Don't hold back, Jeff. Tell us how you really feel. How do you really feel? Well, I told you how I really feel. Now, look, I'm going to go through these comments here, and then we're going to wrap this up. Said again, the key issue comes from here. In his statement, Commander Guerrero says, I placed the key into the keyhole. The key worked, and I was able to unlock and open the door, according to the Texas House report. Xtopia says, I'm incorrect, because I said that was referring to the other door that they were testing the keys on. It's part referring to Botag when they did the breach. And JD's like both doors, per the report, page 61, but it states there is doubt if the door ever locked. Going back to the timeline, let's just look at these three things and leave it here. First of all, this is 11:33 when he enters the room. The shooter enters the school through a back door on the northwest side of the school. The door had been closed earlier by the teacher, but it was either, quote, already unlocked or the lock failed to engage, which the teacher could not have known because the door is locked from the outside, according to the Texas House Committee report. None of the three exterior doors to the building were locked in violation of school policy. So apparently none of the outside doors were locked. It wasn't the teacher propping it open with a rock or whatever. You going out, you waiting to vape or any of that shit. The gunman then walks into classroom 111 and doesn't appear to have encountered a locked door. Again, this was widely known. It was a widely known fact around the school. The outside door, it either was already unlocked or failed to lock, but it turns out that it just wasn't locked. None of the outside doors were locked. The inside door to 111 was not locked. And going ahead here in the timeline to testing the damn stupid keys pointlessly, he requests the master key 30 minutes after this shit started. And then he spends 40 minutes looking for the damn key. Arredondo attempts numerous sets of keys on the door. They don't open. And when was it? The search for the keys continues. All right. 12:45. This has gone on an hour and 12 minutes at this point. An hour and 12 minutes later, a law enforcement officer tells the House committee that a Texas Ranger has a set of keys being tested. In addition, Border Patrol Unit Commander Guerrero also obtained a master key, and another officer advised him to try it on another door first. When the first attempts didn't work, he then received a second master key, which successfully opened the test door. This was the master key that would be used to open the door to room 111, even though the door was already unlocked. So, if it is correct, if XOP is correct, and that this, and if JSD's was also correct, saying that the key was placed in the keyhole, the key worked, and he was unable to unlock and open the door, well, even if that was referring to the door that the guy is in, it was not locked. They did not have to do that. That's it. The door could not have been locked. It was broken. It was known to be broken. They did all this testing. They actually used the master key in the door when they didn't need to. So regardless, that door was not locked. It was fucked up from square one. This is a shitty situation. Police Chief Arredondo is a freaking disgrace. And I know I've used it repeatedly already. This quote sums it up perfectly.
Coward without the moral courage to prevent an atrocity. You offend me.
Got nothing to add other than that. Police Chief Arredondo is a coward who lacked the moral compass to prevent a catastrophe. He does offend me. Lots of things offend me, but he takes the cake. This new report released just last week that documents this interview with him the day after the shooting occurred makes it even worse for me somehow. And Glitterfire, yeah, right. The entire key thing is a moot argument because the entire point is they didn't even try to open the door for over an hour. That's the point. Yeah, I don't understand how he has not been charged with something. The poor guy in the Parkland shooting, I mean, they're crucifying him. This guy nothing's happening to him. Nothing. I don't understand how he hasn't been charged with something. But he hasn't been, and it looks like he's not going to be. So I don't know. He's lost his job. That's all we know. I mean, whatever. I'm done. This thing is likely never to be monetized, because this is exactly the stuff YouTube hates, and the fact that we can't talk about this openly, honestly, directly, and in a critiquing and educational manner really chafes me as well. But thank you for everybody that's been here. Thank you for keeping us active. Thank you for keeping us on our toes, everybody here in chat. My chat right here, the Vice Squad, is the greatest chat on the entire internet. I will never not say that. You guys rock. You're the best. Mods, thank you for being here, taking care of us. Yeah, execution is no way you're swearing within 2 minutes. I cannot talk calmly and rationally about this subject. As a father, it fucking freaks me out. I can't talk rationally and reasonably about this, and I don't know how anybody can. I gave it my best shot. Didn't last 2 minutes, apparently. All right. So what we're gonna do here? Let me go to my studio. I'm gonna set us up if she's allowing it to feed everybody into Megan Fox. Megan Fox, not the thumbs, the reporter. Corn Pop, thank you so much for the super sticker. The laughing, is that a cat or a fox, or I don't know what the hell that is, but thank you for the laughing critter. Let's set this up to see if we can dump this into Megan Fox, and then I'll wrap this up and we'll feed you into there. Hang tight for just 1 second while I do this, because I got a few parting comments, and then we'll let Megan Fox take over if we can. Customization, redirect. Can we redirect to Megan Fox? Megan Fox. Megan Fox. All right. Yes, we can. All right, dudes. So here's what's going to happen. When I finish this little rant here in about 30 seconds to a minute from now, we'll feed you directly into Megan Fox, reporter. And if you're not automatically sent there, a little thing is going to pop up at the top of chat that says something along the lines of everybody's going over there. Click. If you click on that, that will take you over there. Some of YouTube does it sometimes it doesn't. Some of you are going to automatically send over there. Some of you will have to click that little box that's going to pop up at the top of this. Yes, he was fired, Alf. He was fired. He's no longer there. So here we go. This is what I have to say. Thank you all for being here. Mods, thank you so much for doing your mod thing. I love my mods to death. My mods are great. Thank you so much, chat, for being here. As I said, the best chat around. Bleep that guy, says Corn Pope, and bleep YouTube for not letting us talk about this foolish situation. Exactly. And then Kyle Cowden, before you go, here's for the supers that YouTube censored. Oh, well, thank you so much. YouTube, screw you for censoring my super chat. Replay crew, if you come back later and you still wanted to give something, there's the super thanks. You can do that. That's an option. I think I got all the super chats done. Yes, I did. Chat, thank you. Thank you for everybody that subscribed during this. We picked up a bunch of subscribers. I'm 18 subscribers away from 33,100. Hopefully within tomorrow, we'll be able to get up to 33,100. I want to get up to 50,000 subscribers by May. That's my goal. Let's see how our like and subscribe poll turned out. This is the end of the show. We currently have 685 people, 964 likes. We're 36 likes shy of 1,000. Come on, get us up to 1,000 likes while we're doing this. Here's the poll. Coming in last place with 12% of the votes, I hit the like and subscribe button because it's the decent thing to do. You guys didn't subscribe because it's the decent thing to do. You subscribed you're liked for another reason. Okay, we're now 25 likes away from 1,000 likes. Coming in at third place with 23% of the vote, I hit the like and subscribe buttons because this is a serious and important topic. I agree with you. Coming in at second place. We need 25 more likes to get to 1,000. Everybody do it. Coming in at second place at 31% of the vote, I hit the like and subscribe buttons because I can't hit Arredondo like I want to. Yeah, that's me. We got 20 more and we're on our last few seconds of the stream. 20 more likes is all we need to get to 1,000. I hit the like and subscribe button because 34% of you said it makes the Lorax feel happy. Lorax is happy today. Lorax appreciates everything that you guys have done. And speaking of Lorax, we are days away from launching Lorax merch, hoodies and sweatshirts and t-shirts. Lorax merch is coming very, very soon. All right, everybody. We ended up with 987 likes. We picked up about 23 subscribers, it looks like. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to end the show now with my deepest thanks, because show up tomorrow for O.J. Simpson. We're going to be reviewing the O.J. Simpson trial. Barry Scheck is going to continue crucifying L.A. criminologist Dennis Fung as he continues the 8.5-day cross-examination. Friday is going to be a chill stream where we're going to be talking about things we don't normally get to talk about. Lorax body pillows. You disgust me, people. All right. And right now, I'm going to click off. We need 9 more votes to get us to 1,000. It'll get up there overnight while I sleep and during your daytime. When I end the show, we're going to go over to Megan Fox. If you don't get automatically directed there, click the little box that's going to pop up at the top of chat and tell Megan hi. Let her know Lorax is invading her. 3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow. Enjoy your legal vices. Lorax out.